Hey, greetings. Welcome back to Soul Citizens. I am Griffin Gaming RPG, and today is December the 1st, last month of the year, first day of the month, and I'm here with my two compadres, two co-producers. To my right and your left, the one and the only, Fastcart FC. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. I had fun yesterday. Hope everybody had fun who attended the Bar Citizen. And hope everyone is recuperating well too.
Yeah. Why don't you tell people what the Bar Citizen was for those people who may not know what it was that we did yesterday?
Bar Citizen is a event that we typically held once a year. We used to do it twice a year, but this time we do it during IAE after CitizenCon, and that's where we have a gathering of like-minded individuals come together on Zoom and talk about what's going on in Star Citizen. We cover the panels from the CitizenCon this year, and we talk about IAE stuff.
Yeah, we had a good time yesterday. Good group of folks, and folks hung out. Some folks hung out for both sessions yesterday, so it was a pretty long day for most people, but it was a good time. And also with us, that joined us yesterday, was the one and the only SeriousFun. Serious, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Greetings and salutations. Down with another group of like-minded, well-thought, erudite, wise individuals, and we'll talk about a different panel of activities today. So I'm excited to do that as well.
All right, cool. Well, thank you guys.
Wait. Just want to make sure. You calling me wise?
I did.
You need to call them otherwise, is what you need to call them.
There you go. There you go.
I got wise on my left and otherwise on my right, y'all. Okay, so, but no, thank you guys for being here today. This is a rare show where we have all three of the producers of Soul Citizens on together, and which is good because it gives some of our other team members a break and they get to relax and enjoy the holiday weekend. Hope for those of you in North America, hope you guys had a great weekend, and for those of you who've just been chilling, hope you guys are doing well. This week's show is our annual show. This is one of those shows that we do every year, which is our annual IAE 2954 review. And it's our time where we go back and talk about the things that we liked, the things that we saw, and maybe even some things that maybe we didn't like that take place during the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. So that's going to be our subject for today. We're going to jump into that topic right now, in fact, because we've got a lot of ground to cover. Let me ask you guys a question real quick as we lead into this. What was some of the sentiment that you guys may have heard leading into IAE this year? Was there any? It doesn't have to be even things that people said. Did it seem like there was some hype and excitement? Did it seem subdued? Fastcart, I'll go to you first on this. Or how did you feel even coming leading into it?
I felt typically normal for IE coming into it. And my impression from other people was that it was kind of subdued. Like people were saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna buy too much this year." But there was a lot of hype for the Polaris, so that and the Pioneer. So okay. It kind of evened out between those two ships.
Okay. Do you think that maybe? Do you think that some of it may have been because of CitizenCon? You know, it was just a month ago, and there was already a bit of hype built up about that. And then coming down from that, then IAE comes like a month later, and maybe there's just not a lot of energy, or I don't know. You said you were okay, right?
And I think a lot of people, some people were excited because there were so many ships becoming available this IAE. Like we had seven ships, and or we had seven now, but we didn't know about the Paladin.
Right.
But we'll get to that in later. But you know, we had at least 6 ships that we knew about, and that was like, I want to say, a record for IAE because that was unprecedented.
Okay. Serious, how about you? Your sentiments and the sentiments that you were hearing from the community? Any thoughts you got?
Yeah, for me, I was a little bit unhoused. I was a little bit off balance with this year's IAE. And part of that was because the dynamic that we had been experiencing in the run up to IAE included ship reveals in weird places that weren't IAE, right? So we were getting to see concepts like in PTU, and Eva Cotti is now allowed to reveal things, and so it was less leaking and more pre-release before release.
Yeah.
And so the sort of pop that you used to get from IAE, seeing a concept for the first time, or seeing a straight to flyable ship for the first time, was really diluted in my experience and in my view.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the stuff that you come into IAE looking to, I mean, for those of you who have done IAE before, there was a real moment when you used to go in for a manufacturer's day, and you go up those steps, and that the ship that they were showing off was revealed, right? And it was literally, you took the time to go there and see the ship and walk around it. Well, people were already flying the Polaris, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and so I think and CIG chose to do that for whatever reason or set of reasons that they have. But one of the effects was coming into IAE, the need that I used to feel to get over to the show and see things was tremendously diluted, I thought. So.
Yeah. This started before this year for me. When CIG opened the halls up and put ships in ahead of time, that's when it started for me. Because like you, I looked forward to the kickoff of the event. I didn't mind when the halls were open and there were no ships there, and you could just, they said just put the layout in and they were testing. But a few years back, they started putting some of the ships in, maybe not whatever the new ship was, but stuff was in there already. And it took some of the gloss and the anticipation off for me. This year, I agree. The pre-release of ships bothered me. It bothered me in relation to IAE. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whether they were doing it because they wanted to make sure these ships were game ready by the time IAE came out back in the day, maybe that stayed with Eva Cotti. But to your point, the fact that now even Eva Cotti can talk and show things ahead of time, it takes away a little bit of the anticipation of looking forward to the event. So basically, it's like everything we see, we already saw. It's just sitting on the show floor, right? And then even then, I got some problems with this next part I want to talk to you guys about. And I'm not sure if you guys ran into this as an issue. But I was a little disappointed. Now, this is a really tough thing, guys, for those of you who are watching, because fastcart and Sirius and I have been in this game a very long time. Sirius, you've been here since what year? Since what year did you come in?
And I've been since December 2013. So.
Okay, so we've all been in here the same amount of time virtually. And so it's very easy for us to feel a certain kind of way versus somebody who may be coming into the game for their second or third or first, second or third year. And even though IAE isn't that old, don't get me wrong, but we've been to every one of them. And each time they've done this, I think I've suggested this each year, that I wanted CIG to build out a little bit more each time they've done it. Now, they did do something this year that added a little bit to it. Let me say this too also before I even get to this next point. I think another thing, Sirius and fastcart, that was an issue was that there was a lot of stuff going on at the same time leading up to IAE. We just come off CitizenCon. 324 was being patched in the PU. You had 4.0 coming out, being tested. You had Save Stanton being tested, right? All these different things were coming out. And so the idea of building up to IAE, it's almost like IAE kind of fell to the last of the list of things to look forward to because all these other things were going on. It was like we were juggling a lot of things leading up to it. And that's another thing that I think might have been, at least for me, I don't know about everybody else, but that was also something I think that subconsciously might have messed with me a little bit. Let me show you guys a video real quick here. I don't even know if I have this set up to turn this on and off. Did I? Let me see. Give me 1 second here, gang. Let me turn that off. Nope, that's the wrong thing. Where is it? What's running? I don't even know what's running here. I gotta find it now. Is this the window here? Yeah, that's it there. Sorry. Okay, let me stop this video here because this is running and it shouldn't be. That's the problem. Okay. Let me run a video for you guys, and I want to get your thoughts on this. This is when I went over on Argo Day. Okay, I went over to IAE, and I went over to go. What did I go look at? I think I just went over because it was Argo Day. Maybe that's all I did because there wasn't anything special really that I was going over there for. But when I got there, this is what I saw. Now you guys are familiar with this. These are the old MPUVs, the cargo and the passenger version, right? And if I was a new player and I was coming into this game, this is what I would run into, and I mean literally, boom. That was me entering the ship, right? I get in, and it's been this way forever. The metrics on this ship, I don't know if it's the metrics or what, but you can see when my character's inside, I'm having to squat to walk through there. Now, that's not a problem if that's the case. If I need to kneel down and get in, that's fine. But the reality is that there's a collision aspect when you get inside the ship. And that collision aspect has been in this ship for years, literally. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. I've been looking for the modularity of these ships to work. And you can see there, I'm clipping it as I'm going through, right? Look at that. Now, I'm not trying to be funny. If this is the showcase and the showroom for people to purchase and buy things, but they're getting that type of reaction for a ship that has been around as long as this one has, I got issues with that. If there's no other one that works, it needs to be the one on the freaking showroom. If they buy it and it's a limit afterward, okay. But it should be working on the showroom.
And I got one for you too.
Well, let me share something else with you because I'm following my video here. So give me 1 second. So you notice that door on the outside? It looks normal, right? Okay.
Right.
And when we get to the side, you're going to see me open and close the door. It looks normal there as well. But then when you go inside, it's transparent looking outside. And it's the same way in the back that the sides are transparent. This should not be the case at this point. Now, the reason why I'm barking about this is because there's a lot of stuff about this IAE that felt very rushed. And that might have been the case because there was such a push for getting Squadron 42 and some things ready for CitizenCon that I really feel like there were things that got overlooked. I was told that people were having problems getting on the reclaimer, that the elevator on the reclaimer wasn't working well. I'm talking about on the showroom floor. And the reclaimer works outside of the world. So it's like, what's going on? That's something that they do every year is having these type of issues. Now, here's another thing. I went to go see on Origin Day. I went over to look at the 135. I think this is the Origin 135. Look, what's that on top of the ship? This is on the showroom floor, right? There's a whole cargo section sitting on top of that ship. So I closed the back ramp thinking, well, maybe it's the back ramp and it was just doubling itself. But that was not the case. Whatever that is on top of the ship, I couldn't even figure out. I thought it was maybe the cargo thing inside. But again, if I wanted to buy that and I went on the showroom floor and I saw that, I'd be like, what's going on with that? And I've never seen this happen at IAE. Never. And that's sitting on the floor. Then there was the general issue that everybody was having, which you guys already know about. People were having issues with the day 1, day 2 thing, right? Traditionally, we've had 2 days for each manufacturer. And some people didn't go day 1 because they said, I'll go on day 2. They go day 2, there is no day 2. And then it takes several days for CIG to acknowledge that there is an issue. So what happened? What's happening that we're seeing the quality level of something as standard and annual as IAE not be the quality level that we should be expecting at this point?
Well, yeah, I don't know what happened, but something happened, right? Something markedly allowed, and the stories that you're telling are stories that a lot of people were talking about. We have folks who are on a continuum in terms of the soul citizens community is on a continuum in terms of how much people play. Right? You have some people who over the past year, 2 years aren't really playing a lot at all, but they'll still go to IAE. Right? And then they get ready to get into IAE and they discover that the different floors aren't working. Like it's just the day 1 floor is working. And then they're like, well, you know what? I'm not even gonna bother. Right? And for me, the expo is an opportunity, even when all of the gameplay mechanics aren't working, to show off the thing that is the fundamental difference between Star Citizen and all the other games, which is the ships and their detail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you can't come in and do that, it doesn't. Oh, yes, I know, dog. That's all right. He don't like it either. He don't like it. It is not helping backers to engage either new backers or backers that are so new that they're considering the game. You want to be able to have at least one space to come in and go, these are these ships on their best foot.
Yeah.
In their best presentation. It was a little bit messy. Now, listen, you behind the scenes, CIG might know exactly why it was a little bit messy. We don't know, but it did present as a little bit messy. And I didn't like it. I hope it's a one-off and not a direction. Right?
Yeah,
it needs to be a one-off.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't let me in. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to ask you a question. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I'm glad you didn't let me interrupt you, because I was going to bring up the 135C, because I'm interested in the Intrepid, and I wanted to compare the 135C with the Intrepid, and the 135C was borked. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm like, trying to look around, and I rented it and put it in my hangar just to see if maybe it was a showroom floor thing, but nope, it had the same error.
Really?
So I'm like, yeah, it had the same error in my hangar. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Now that's interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
So anyone who went into the 135C probably had the
same problem.
The same error.
Yeah.
So, but this isn't the first time that they have issues with the with ships. It just seemed like it's more exacerbated this year than previous years. 'Cause I remember previous years they had a caterpillar. You go into the caterpillar, there was no atmosphere, so he started choking. But the doors and everything were open, so you had to run out of the caterpillar to start breathing. So this is the first time they had the issue, but it seems like that was only a one-off.
Right.
It's not to seem to pile on like it had this year.
Right. And to your point, if you said I went on the Intrepid and there was a problem, you'd probably say, okay, the Intrepid's new, right? But the 135 has been around forever. Why is that having a problem? And that's why I showed the Argo vehicles, right? They've been around forever. And I'm not talking about the rework side of it. I'm just talking about the working side of it. At this point, I would think that shouldn't be a problem. So I struggled a little bit. And I'm wondering, and like you said, Sirius, we don't know what has led to this, but I do know this. It seems like CIG's trying to do a lot. Now, I don't know if they're trying to do a lot because they were scheduled to do a lot, or because we as a community have been saying y'all need to do things more and put things out, or there's pressure. I don't know. But we do know that when CitizenCon was coming up, there was a big push on the staff to get things ready for that, for Squadron and for that event. And I have to wonder, within the proximity of time that was left that they had over, did some of that pushing also roll over into IAE, so that there were these things that got missed? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Fastcart, what kept them from keeping, what is it called? What's the floors called? Zenith, and what's the A called?
Oh, Apex and Zenith.
Yeah, why couldn't Apex stay open for 2 days? What was going on? You know what I'm saying? If you did it the first day and you missed it, but we for some reason they couldn't fix that through the whole week.
Right.
What they didn't change?
It's one thing for it to happen, but they couldn't fix it.
Yeah, and they couldn't change and they didn't change the calendar. So go in and change the calendar. Don't say 2 days. Go in and change the script. That's what I'm saying. That's not making sense. I don't know what was going on with that. I think
one of the things that CC Creator says in the chat is, he says, I think some of this is a side effect of them converting ship textures to work better with global illumination, Maelstrom, and new tech. And so, to your point, CC, if it is a function of moving into the 4.0 branch of functionality, I get it, right? This is one of those communication moments, right, that CIG could probably take better opportunity of, right? To say, hey, as we transition into these 4.0 elements, into the 4.0 branch of feature types, you may see some of these things.
Yeah.
And then you're ready for it.
Then you
right?
know,
Then you
yeah.
can accommodate it.
Mhm.
Right.
But that's not the
I think
expectation. That's not our expectation right now. Our expectation is what
No.
we've seen before in the past. To your
Correct.
point.
I do want to say one thing. For all the complaints that we do have, there was a few good points too. The Polaris is great.
We ain't got to the good points yet. I'm still ragging right now. Hang on to your
Still
good
ragging?
points for a minute. Yeah, give me a couple minutes here. No, I want to say something that Ben QC said. He said the Anvil Paladin hologram was the damn Crucible. Now, yeah, come on.
Paladin? Okay, I didn't notice that.
I didn't go back there and see it, but he's just saying that's why I'm saying there's stuff that was off. It'd be different when you're talking about a bug. I'm talking about something was off this year. The pendulum swung way too far toward the other direction this year, and so
I do have another rag. The CCU game this year was weak. Like the CCU game was weak as hell this year.
Well,
oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, but
Griff, once you told Fastcart it was rag on something time, he leaned in.
He jumped onto that, right? He jumped onto that. All right. Well, yeah, and that's a whole nother thing because we can talk about ship pricing. Let's talk about that too, since we're here. How do you guys feel about the ship pricing notifications? I'm not affected by it, but when they increase, maybe it's because I always know the ship prices can change. And I know that sometimes people are used to the pattern of when a ship price come out, it stays the same until release. Then in release, there's an expectation that the ship is going to increase, right? But then there's those times where they'll just do an increase on a ship at IAE or before, like the Cuddy Black, something like that may go up by $10 or whatever. It changes. Is CIG obligated to tell people ahead of time, hey, by the way, just so you'll know, 3 weeks from now, we're going to raise the price on so-and-so, just so you'll know. Now, does that mean that people say, hey, I'm glad I know now because now I'll go ahead and buy it? Or, is it just the fact that it's changing? I don't know. Again, when they raise the ship price, I expect it. I always expect it's going to go up. I don't wait till release to think it's going to go up.
I think for this year they had to do it because if they hadn't, especially for a ship like a Pioneer, oh my goodness! Can you imagine if the consolidated outland they came and then people saw the price increase?
No, but that increase people expected. People expected the increase there. They expected it on the Polaris. I'm talking about, I think it was the Cuddy Black. Something low level got increased and they didn't tell us ahead of time. And some people went on a rant about it. Some people went on a rant about it. And I'm talking about like that type of thing.
I see comments in the chat that say the CIG admitted that they would tell people to raise prices.
Yeah.
Now, if that's the case, they got to do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
Right. That's a fundamental.
Yeah.
Right. Do I think that it was required for them to say that?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might want to put out something general in their communication to say, hey, as a general thing, you can imagine that prices now are not going to be as cheap as prices were, and prices in the future are not going to be as cheap as prices now. Right?
Yeah.
That you can expect that general trend, right?
Banning Merchant is a good example.
So but the bottom line is if they told people
I remember last year when they said that because it happened with that last increase that they did. And I remember it was a big stink about it, and they said that they would do it. I'm just curious.
Yeah. And then they need to do it.
Yeah, but see, Malcari says something that I didn't give consideration to, and he talked about how it impacts the CCU chain, right? So I could kind of understand that, because people bought a CCU and think it's going to do this, that, and the other. I don't know. I just don't know. But if, like you said, if CIG said they're going to announce it, then maybe they should say, hey, at this next IEE, this is going to, expect some prices increases. Maybe if they said it, then that's what they should do.
That's right.
And I would recommend people. I would recommend people get maybe a 600i CCU because that's going to increase when it goes down and come out. Always get the Endeavor CCU because that's a good buy. Always get the Crucible CCU because that's also a good buy. They're both 350, so those will definitely increase whenever they come out eventually.
The CCU opinions of Fastcart do not represent sole citizens or its subsidiaries.
I'm just saying, if you're going for the CCU game, those are good buys.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we have a lot to cover today, guys. We got all of our vitriol out, if you want to call it vitriol. It wasn't that bad, but we got our criticisms out at the beginning of the show because, I did have some very deep concerns about what I'm seeing that is very different from other years of what we've seen at CIG. So, hence why we kind of had this little thing here. Let's go ahead and change up here, guys, and let's talk about the expo. And those of you who know what the Intergalactic Expo is, it's an opportunity for CIG. We call it the ship sale, the annual ship sale, based around lore, opportunity for us, not just Invictus, where Invictus is about the military and the UEE. This is everything usually in the game that is being sold at some point. The differences in it is that usually there's a 10-year insurance that's being sold at this time, which is why a lot of people wait till this time of year to purchase something. Also, not just the 10-year insurance, but also new ships that come out are also introduced during this period of time. Vengeful, thank you so much. Was that Vengeful? Wasn't that Vengeful? My thing is way off.
Vengeful.
Yeah,
Vengeful. Okay, my thing is doing some weird stuff
Thank
here,
you very
guys.
much.
Thank you.
There's three more before him.
Before that, okay. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at trying to read all this stuff here.
Sorry,
okay.
we've been very thankful in the chat. Don't you worry about it.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys. But anyway, so that's basically what the expo is. Senor Mookie, thank you also for the gifts for 3 months. Thank you as well. Thank you. You guys are making us. You guys are getting us out of our salty mode and making us a little happier. So thank you for that. Let's jump into this. One of the things I said to you guys earlier is that I have been asking CIG, or hoping, not asking. I have been hoping that CIG would evolve IAE beyond just a ship sale. Ship sale is nice, but there's way more to Star Citizen than that. And I had been saying, hey, have something interactive happen. Maybe during Invictus, have a situation where when the fleet moves from one system to another. There's an escort, players could escort and prevent, make sure the ships arrive safely. I wanted something that just was more than just going to the display hall, looking around at ships, and that's it. That's all you do. And so this year, CIG did begin this new thing that they did. Let me make sure I can click on it here, called the IAE Academy. Did you guys take a look at this at all? Did you do any of it at all?
I didn't do any of it, but I was happy to see it. Right?
Okay.
I was happy to see the opportunity to do the things that were involved in the academy. So
okay.
And I am 2 down, and I need to do one more. I'm probably going to do one of the cargo ones, but whichever one is easier. If people say the combat one is easy, and you want to carry me, I appreciate that.
Okay, well, the IAE Academy, the Intergalactic Expo, is all about empowering citizens to carve out their own paths across the stars. But taking the first steps can be daunting. Enter IAE Academy, a crash course in spaceflight and the careers available to enterprising new pilots. Can't read. Complete IAE Academy missions, earn rewards, thrive as you venture into the wide verse. To earn the rewards, players must complete any 3 tasks from the 5 tasks listed below. For more information, please read blah, 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 blah. Okay. And some of the items that you would get would be, well, here's the tasks here. Complete any 3 tasks to earn the following: an IAE 2954 in-game event shirt, which would be white, a combat career kit with an Orc MKX Singularity armor set, Stone Skin undersuit, P4AR Night Stalker rifle, and a Gemini L86 pistol. In-game rewards will be attributed to the players on November 27th. And some people were saying they didn't get their stuff, but then their stuff popped up in their hangars after a period of time. And these were the different tasks that you had
like
to
a
do.
48-hour period.
Yeah, before they got dropped in.
And there was another clarification saying this is definitely going in your hangar. It won't be wiped.
Yes, absolutely. It remains with you. Yep. Task 1 was first steps. Task 2 was visit IAE. Task 3 was combat. Task 4 was hauling. And task 5 was industry. That was it. And of course, there were some sales here for starter packs. And you could tell this was kind of geared to getting people who maybe have not played the game, their introduction to what some of the elements of what Star Citizen offers. You guys, Sirius, I'll go to you first on this one. Any thoughts about what this was again?
No, I thought that it was really smart. It didn't just cater to new players. It catered to players who haven't been here in a while, players who weren't ready for the new AI in the bunkers or the save stat and level of missions, right? but who just needed to get back in, right, or to get in. And when you earn those rewards, those are useful rewards, right? Singularity armor is great. Stone Skin Undersuit is nice. E4 is fundamental. And the Gemini L86 can rock on automatic, right? So that's some good stuff to pick up.
Okay.
We're sort of old hats. We walk around with millions of AUEC since we haven't been wiped, and we can just go down to Hubby Blast and Area 18 and pick that stuff up in 30 seconds.
That's right.
But that ain't everybody, right? And so for people to be able to get in and get some fundamental experience in and then get something out of that, I thought was really smart. So I thought it was a good idea.
Okay. And FC, you said you did a couple of the missions in here, right? You got one more to do?
Yeah, I have one more to do.
Okay, which two did you do? Do you remember?
The IAE and the visit IAE in First Steps.
Okay.
I think everyone who visited IAE would automatically have two anyway. So if you take that page, you probably have those first two. You just got to do one more.
Gotcha.
But I do want to point out the ship that they offer, the Intrepid Starter Pack. That's an LTI starter pack with 20K alpha, 20K UEC, not alpha UEC, 20K UEC. So I don't remember the last time CIG sold a package that had the Star Citizen digital download with life LTI in it. So that is a special deal and special buy.
Okay. For that particular starter pack.
Any of them, because all the other starter packets had 6 months.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I said for that particular one. For that particular one. Okay.
Right.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty. All right. Let's go ahead and start jumping into it, guys. Crusader Industries. Most of us are familiar with the ships that Crusader offers, and we're really going to kind of focus on new ships that were out there. Crusader is a very popular brand for the most part. A lot of people own one. I think the MSR was one of the big ships that got people really hyped about. But there was a bit of intrigue this year when it came to this particular brand. Let me go to the video for this because I want to talk about this. This was the day one. Was Crusader and Tumbril. But let's take a look at this video real quick.
Mom, Dad. Sorry I didn't write sooner. Things have been non-stop out here. Being on my own has been such a rush. I wish you could see it. The views, wildlife, the locals. It's not all been smooth sailing, but don't worry. If I keep carving out my path, who knows how far I can go? This is just the start.
At Crusader, start small, dream big.
Okay. Let me get you guys feedback about the Intrepid. Let's talk about that a little bit. What have you guys got to say about this particular ship?
So the Intrepid, it has one of the best interiors of a starter ship, period. Right? In terms of bringing the whole package together. Feeling like it could be lived in, having the cargo, having all the stuff inside, having it well positioned, having a good look with the Crusader look. It's outstanding. The exterior and what they were going for, when people who may or may not know, the ship originally came with the size 3 gun, the asymmetrical look that they had pioneered with the Mercury Star Runner. They tried to extend here. It was controversial. A lot of people didn't like it. What I discovered for me was that I didn't like it in white. Right?
Yeah.
Once you put the Oblivion paint on there, I think there's another paint called Nocturne. Once you put those paints on there, I think the ship looks a lot better. The shadow play and the way that the ship integrates and looks, I think, feels a lot better. And then they ended up responsive to the community and put a size 4 on there, which I think enhances the ship as well.
Okay.
Now, listen, no, I don't think it is a feature of the Star Citizen community that those folks that run stats down are always looking to max min meta.
Mm-hmm.
And in any given moment, they have the list of the singular ships in each class that are the only ships that are worth having ever, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I saw this as a really viable starter ship at the price. I thought it was cool. And I like the way it looked. Now, fastcart took a bit of my thunder around this, in that the starter pack is LTI and 20,000 UEC. That's a big deal. That's a
Mm-hmm.
comparative compared to other starter ship packages. That's a big deal, and for $60, a very viable, in my view, way to start in Star Citizen. I recommend that package and this ship.
Okay.
Oh, it's 80. Hold on, let me get the right price. It is 60. Oh, it is $68. $68. Not $60 for the standalone.
Mm-hmm. FC, your thoughts on the ship?
Yeah, I think CIG were just, I don't want to say trolling people, but just testing the waters when they put it out with the size 3. Because when you put a size 4 weapon on it, it looked like the size 4 just fits. It looked like it was made for size 4. So I think CIG was just testing the waters to see what the community would say when they put a size 3 on there. And the community responded, we don't like that. But make it a size 4. And it looks much better. And I agree with the Captain SeriousFun about the paint. It looked better with the Nocturne Oblivion. And in my opinion, it looked like the Intrepid had, it was an MSR and a Spirit had a baby. And I think that's intentional on CIG's part. And this is probably the first and only ship that I guessed the price of for War Bond. I said it was going to be $60 War Bond, and it was $60 War Bond. I don't think I've ever been right before, so I'm happy. It'll never happen again, put it that way. Mm-hmm. But as far as the ship goes, I was struggling with this because I was thinking I already have a 315P, and the 315P carries 12 cargo units for $5 more. So, but if you would like the look of the Crusader and Intrepid, and it is a lot faster than the 315P. So if you prefer speed over cargo, maybe that's a ship for you.
Mm. I think I was off on this one. I said 65 standalone and 80 as a package. So my numbers were off by $5 a little bit on the standalone. I like the ship from when I saw
even the fusion paint, the green paint is better than that white paint on it.
Than the white, yeah. I like the ship from the very beginning. Now I was weird. I didn't understand some of what people didn't like. I was trying to separate people's arguments about the size 3 gun versus the design of the ship. And admittedly, the size 3 gun looked like it didn't fit. To your point, fastcart, it just looked like it in proportion to the ship. Let me put it that way. Once they did the upgrade to the gun, and whether let's say even if it was a size 3, but it looked like the way it looks now, I would have said, "Oh, that makes sense." So the upgrade, I'm fine with the upgrade to it, especially since it's the only gun on this. It's not like you got 2 guns. The interior of the ship, SeriousFun, to your point, the layout inside for a premium starter ship, I thought was very good. Unlike we were talking about the 135C, which is a ship that I usually fly to get from here to there all the time when I just don't want to be bothered with anything. But the difficulty with that ship is that it has no place to place clothing. I have to put a cargo box on that ship in order to put guns and weapons and things away. When I saw this, and I saw this had a 2 gun rack area plus a gun for a heavy weapon, it has a place for me to sleep, eat, everything else, bathroom, which my 135 does not offer me. And so for me, it was like, this might be the ship that I'll finally call a daily driver for me. Now, for me, I like it. Other people, and I'm not going to say it's the best ship out there. It's just, for me, I like it. And to your point, Sirius, once you change the paint, it makes a difference on that ship. I don't know what it is about it, but I will say this. When I first saw this, all I saw was a mini freaking Ares. I didn't see any difference. I don't know. To me, it was like, I don't know what people are hollering about. This thing is almost like an Ares, but all of a sudden it was the ugliest thing that CIG made. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. That's, so I was thrown off. I was thrown off by it. But anyway,
I saw all of that feedback. I saw MSR, I saw C1, I saw Ares, which meant they did a good job, right? It was evocative of all the Crusader design, right? And different people saw different things, design touchstones within it, right? Yeah. But as what does Morph call it? Morph calls it, he's an architect, he calls it the program. The program inside the ship, I think, is one of the best for a starter, for all the reasons you just named.
Yeah. Okay, and again, folks, go ahead, fastcart.
As far as getting a 135C over the Intrepid, I mean, it might work in game because I imagine the 135C will be cheaper in game with UEC or Alpha UEC compared to the Intrepid or the 315P. But right now the 135C is 65 standalone, and they're both the same price, put it that way. But I think you get more with the Intrepid over the 135C. But the 315P, it depends on, a whole bunch of stuff, like your preferences, basically.
Yeah. I'm still torn a bit with pricing of Alien and luxury. I'm using the loose term of luxury, I could say touring is a better word instead of luxury, because luxury sets some people off. So let me say touring. And the reason why I struggle with it is because many of the combat ships lean toward their elements being in the game already. In other words, the type of weapon, the type of shields, things of that nature. But when it comes to the alien technology in the game, and when it comes to the touring aspects of the game, or even the explorations parts, those elements aren't necessarily into the ship yet. And so it becomes difficult to say whether or not the value of a ship is there when all the elements that supposedly are supposed to be a part of that ship aren't there yet. So like if I get in a 135 fastcart, there are panels in the 135 that are supposed to be doing something, but they don't. And I don't know what they're supposed to do. And if they just remain cosmetic, then that price means nothing. You know what I'm saying? But like if those panels do something different, or if there's some elaborate thing that comes out, then all of a sudden maybe the $65 will make sense to me, as an owner of one. But because so many elements aren't there, all you can do is judge by what you've got in your hands at that moment, So I'm not saying that the 135 is worth the 65. I'm just saying I don't know if it is until I see all of its features placed in place. The air system's nice, where it refuels itself and stuff, and that has paid off when I fly. There's times I've flown around and had to put any fuel in my plane. I landed in a plane and the thing was full. That saves me some bucks, right? But, is that enough? And for some people, that's it. For some people, it's going to be like, nope, I need bathroom. So whatever
I
the
need
case
food.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Tumbrel. We didn't get anything new from Tumbrel this year, I don't think. Is that correct? Nothing new, right?
Nothing new.
Nothing new.
Nothing new.
All right, nothing new from Tumbrel. All right, let's jump into who's next. Aegis, I think it is. Is our next one? Yes, Aegis. All righty. Boy, this is an interesting one. I don't think we had anything new from Aegis this year. As you guys know, Aegis is a very popular line of ships in Star Citizen. And for those people who are into a lot of the combat stuff, these are some chosen like ships that are in here that we've been getting. Last year, we got some upgrades to things like the Retaliator, some adjustments to certain ships like the Redeemer. Interesting conversation.
And we got the Saber variants as well.
We got this additional Saber variants as well this year. So they have a pretty large fleet of ships when it all comes down to it. I mean, when you look at how many ships we have under the Aegis line: Titans, Titan Renegade, Warlock, Eclipse, Gladius, Gladius Valiant, Hammerheads, Idris P, Javelins, Nautilus, Fastcart. How fast did these go out this year? Nautilus. I mean, javelins, like within seconds, right?
Within seconds. The Warbond stuck around for actually look it up again. But the robot just stood out for a bit longer this year than typical year.
Okay, all right. There's a lot of melting for I'm still blown away at people buying javelins. Nautilus, Reclaimer, Redeemer, Retaliator. We didn't have any price increases, I don't think, did we, on anything? Saber. The Saber was 170 or 175,
Saber,
I think.
yeah.
Yeah. Comet, 185. Firebird. Is that it? Or did my thing just freeze up? My thing just froze up for some reason. All right. Well, anyway, I can't scroll
Saber
anymore.
Comet, Saber Firebird, Saber Peregrine.
Thank you. I don't
and,
know why
and the Vanguard series.
Unresponsive.
And then the Vanguard series, and then the Vulcan as well.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, for some reason,
Verse 25 says, "Why are we surprised people are buying javelins?" Part of the reason I'm surprised people are still buying javelins is because there has been an opportunity for people to really think through with some of the multiplayer ships like the Polaris and others that have emerged, whether they're going to be really playing multiplayer at that level or not. Right?
Yeah.
You need a lot of people to crew a javelin, right? Yeah, the prisoner gets it. Yeah, I mean, I still think that some people are hoping against hope that they're just going to be able to AI blade and NPC this thing.
Yeah.
And even if that comes, it doesn't seem like that CIG's intention to have that come for 1.0 or come as quickly as people would like, right?
Yeah.
So the way that these ships will be used, the value that they'll have in the early part of the finished or the minimum retail product seems to be that it's going to be driving players to play together, human beings to crew up. And if you don't have your crew, that ship ain't going anywhere unless it's just on a shakedown transport move. You just flying it from one place to another. So,
or
that's part of the reason I was surprised. Right.
Yeah. Twixter 54, thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, I mean, Sirius, you hit it on the head. It's not that I'm surprised that people buy them. That's not the issue. I'm talking about the fact that they fly out the door in 5 seconds. That's what I'm talking about. Because they were literally in 5 seconds they were sold, you know. And so I'm just kind of amazed at the fact that they go out like that. You know, I know there are people who are very interested, and of course the people that melt up to them. But I think that and we're going to talk about this later on, the IAE shows, because in the second IAE show, there was a deep discussion by Richard Tyrer about what it's going to be like to have capital ship combat. And those are the factors, Sirius, I think, that you were just mentioning that are other factors now involved with these ships. Now, maybe that conversation may have inspired some people to realize that, hey, these ships are going to be pretty tough for people to take down. I want one. You know what I mean? But then there are other people that might be like, ooh, look at how much work it's going to take to protect these ships. I'm melting this bad fella, because that's what happened a few years ago.
For me, the surprise is that it was and the javelin sell it so fast, even though the players are coming out a few days later. Yeah. And you know the Idris and javelins are not in game playable in game yet, but the Polaris is. So I'm wondering why, and also the Polaris is not limited. You don't have to worry about the Polaris selling out too. So I'm curious why people would choose a javelin or Idris that fast, that popular compared to the Polaris.
Fastcart. There is no good reason to choose anything but the RSI.
Oh Lord.
There's no good reason.
Oh Lord. Oh my God.
People are out here just thinking the way they think.
I forgot who was in. I was on the show. Girlfriend. My bad.
I was about to say you surely did forget. You really did forget. Okay, so that was Aegis Day. We went to Mirai next, which was on the 24th, and Mirai. Interestingly enough, let me see. This is Miscan Mirai. Hang on a second. I got to get to the right side here. Mirai didn't have anything new this year.
But Griff, you know, we all got a glimpse of.
That's where I was going. Yep.
The Space
Guardian.
Wolf. And to me, the showing of the Space Wolf Mirai Guardian in that way,
Space Wolf,
is sort of indicative of the off-balance, off-kilter feel I felt around IAE this year.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird for me to see it there and not see it in concept. It was weird for them to to show it off, and then you couldn't go downstairs and see the hologram.
Yeah, agreed. And we heard about the Guardian. We knew about the Guardian. We got the silhouette last year at CitizenCon. They told us that it's coming, and yet they just put it in the one trailer for a glimpse, but nothing at all on the floor.
Not just
right.
the trailer,
and they've made it clear. Go ahead.
Not just a trailer, but they had it in a sneak peek just this last week.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you look over to the left there, in the back on the left.
Yeah.
And they've made it clear that it's coming with 4.0, and that's fine.
Right.
But it's indicative of a slightly different pacing that they're going for, in terms of 4.0 and the run up to 4.0.
Well, was it that, or was it an oversight? And I'm not trying to be funny. Out of the 10 ships that were discussed from CitizenCon last year, the one that they gave us full fair warning on was the Legionnaire, right?
No.
And then the Guardian shows up in engine, but you don't even get a hologram. I'm not trying to be funny.
I don't understand. I don't get it either.
I mean, guys, maybe I didn't see the hologram. If there's a hologram of it at the floor, then that's different. I'm just saying it was in engine. And I'm like, well, put the freaking shell on the platform and just say, you can't fly it, but we saw it in the trailer. I mean, I just saw an opportunity, and
it felt like they were getting ready to put the Mirai Guardian on concept this year for IAE, because that's what the whole Facebook thing, was advertising for the Mirai Guardian. But yet, I don't know.
Yeah, it threw me off a little bit. So, all right. Yeah. Well, anyway, that's Mirai. Let's move on.
I'll say this: the Mirai Guardian looks cool as hell. I'll say that.
It looks interesting. I will give them that. It definitely looks interesting.
But the problem is, I keep looking at it from a distance. That's the problem.
I mean, it's a racer and it has weapons on it. I don't know. I'm not sure what role it is still. People expecting to be a racer.
Yeah. I don't know. All right, let's jump into Myst, guys. At CitizenCon this year, we were teased and tempted and tossed around with this whole thing of the new series called Starlancer, which caught everybody off guard a little bit. We were looking at Freelancer. I remember one night when they did a sneak peek of the wing of one of these things, and we thought it was everything. We went down the list of the Odyssey to the whole B we went through all this stuff, and nobody expected, oh no, there's going to be a whole new line of freaking Myst ships called Starlancer, and the three that were listed were the Max, the TAC, and the Build. And we got a chance to our point earlier, that before CitizenCon, before IAE, the Max was put into the PTU for people to test. You guys give me some thoughts on these ships. I know we can't talk about the TAC other than what we've already heard, so let's focus in on the Max for right now. Any thoughts you guys have about it? Have you a chance to fly it? Did you get to walk on it? Have you been on somebody else's? Whatever you want to share. FC, I'll go with you first this time.
I mean, it's not for me. I do like it, but it's not for me because I'm going to go with the TAC railing instead of this. But for $225 and it's almost 600 eyes size, I think it's a good buy for a ship of this class. And now I'm going to say this. I did not. Okay, when I was growing up, I played the LucasArts game. I played X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and all that, what have you. I was not a Chris Roberts or the Wing Commander player. Mm-hmm. So I did not put together. The Freelancer had a game called Freelancer, and the Starlancer had a game called Starlancer. So I didn't know. I didn't catch that bit until like yesterday, in fact. So I'm like, wow. Okay, that's why it's called Starlancer.
Okay.
Yeah. But what threw me off was there was no Starlancer build concept this IE.
Yeah.
Again, we were talking about the Guardian previously for previous day. Why didn't they put the concept up for the build?
Yeah, I'll say this. For me, that was another example, to fastcart's point, of just being a little bit off balance, feeling like IAE was a little rushed, a little incomplete. My experience with the Starlancer was that it's a super solid ship. It's darn near perfect for what it's trying to do. In terms of being a home being comfortable, having gold standard stuff, having windows. It's a great ship. It is a great ship. Whoever developed the paints needs to go try again. His paints are terrible.
Mojave paint was like, okay.
Let me go down to that. Oh my God. Yeah.
The paints are terrible. The two-tone underneath, the two-tone half and half just didn't hit for me. For me, and this is just me, right? Other people might be like, this is my jam. But for me, I was like, even if, and I'm an RSI guy, even at the back of my mind, the Star Lancer was like well, let me fly this around until the Connie gets straight, right? If I was having that type of thought about it, the paints, the best paint for the ship for me is the original paint. And that's I'm not used to that. I'm not used to that from CIG either. So,
and to a fun point, I think people would not expect it to be two-tone because you see it from top, but the underneath is a different color.
Yeah. I struggled with this ship. You guys know I'm a cargo person. That's my bag is cargo and doing industrial things. And I wasn't expecting this ship. And when I saw it, to be honest with you, at first I thought it would look very cool until I looked at the aesthetic of it. And, MISC ships kind of have that bulbous look to them. And it kind of turned me off. I wasn't that crazy about it. I also struggled because I have a hull A and a hull C, and I was trying to find something in that middle ground, which was a hull B. Hull B does 384 SCU. This ship does 224, and with the title of Max and everything else, I was kind of like, I thought it was going to hold more than that. I thought it was going to be a competitor to the B. But just an enclosed ship that offered better accommodations and things of that nature. So I was slightly disappointed. Now, you can put more than 244 in here if you put stuff in other areas on the ship. But as
but that's right now. I don't believe that CIG is going to. I think there's going to be a cost to interior damage of your ship from doing that.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Over the long term.
Yeah. I mean, if you stack stuff, you can take it to 300, but I wouldn't do that. That's not me. First of all, I'm one of those people that, people will talk about, oh, you can't put all the boxes in. They don't put all the boxes in nothing. If y'all go on a freight car, there's always some space still in there and a couple boxes. You don't max out something. And I know people think that that's what you're going to do. But if you get a contract and the contract says move 400 boxes and your unit holds 420, you aren't going to say, what more can I put in for that 20? You're going to put the 400 in and you're going to keep rolling, So that doesn't bother me.
It's just a ship that also... Oh, go ahead.
No, but that doesn't bother me. What I was going to say is this. The more I've been around this ship, the more I like it. It's just taken some time for me for the aesthetic to settle in for me. And once I walked around on it, I looked inside of it. And some people feel like that ship is not laid out well. I'm not sure what barometer they're using. For me,
I feel the opposite.
What's laying out a ship means what works for you. And maybe the layout doesn't work for some people. Some people don't like the double elevators in the back. There's just different things that I've heard people picking about this particular ship. But I actually have grown to like this ship now. And it's one of the ones that I do want to add to my fleet because I don't have a middle ground ship. If I want to take something this size, I've got to take something like a Starfarer out of Reclaimer. I'm not using that to haul cargo, but I was hoping for maybe a little bit more closer to 300. But I think this is going to be an interesting ship, especially at its price point. I am interested in it.
Is this the ship that allows you to put in a full cargo and allow you to have a vehicle inside of it? Or that
you can do both. You can do both on this one.
So that's on the plus side too.
Yeah.
One more complaint about the Star Lancer, that dashboard is way too big. I know some people like it. Yeah. Some people may like the leather box or what have you view. I was hoping for something more like a whole A or the whole C view. But that it's an upgrade from a freelancer or go back like I say call it the Fat Lancer.
Yeah,
because it's just a bigger freelancer. But that's another complaint.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's it. I'm not going to talk about the TAC or any of the others because we don't have enough information on those other than the fact that it went on sale. I was surprised that the bill did not pop up in any information or for sale, but they're maybe still working out the logistics of that ship. So if that's the case, then that's fine.
One thing that caught me off guard this year, maybe I missed it. I don't recall the Hull E being a limited ship.
Oh yeah, Hull E's been limited before.
The Hull E always been limited. Okay, I must have missed it.
Yeah, it's been limited in the past. Yeah. Some of the old standards. I don't think there was anything that changed in here for pricing. God knows, I was hoping that we were going to hear something about the Expanse at some point, but maybe we'll have to wait until we get further into Pyro for that.
One thing we did hear was that the Endeavor modules won't be available until after 1.0, but he didn't say anything about Endeavor, so there's a chance. No, I'm kidding.
All right, yeah, I don't think there are any other changes.
We got an answer on that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't think that we got anything else here, so, okay. All right, let's go on. We got to chop on through here a little bit faster here. Gatak. Nothing new here. And that's unfortunate too. There's a lot of anticipation for the Raylan, and I don't know. I know fastcart. You mentioned earlier that the Raylan was one of the ships that you were looking forward to finding out more about.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the Raylan tonight or tomorrow.
Oh, you haven't picked it up yet. Okay, so right now Gatak is only offering 2 ships: the Raylan and the Sayulan. Sayulan was a fairly popular ship when it came out. Some people like it, some people hate it. Some people love the challenge of flying it. Some people don't even want to be bothered with it. But I'm an Alien fan for Alien ships, and this is one of the more unique ones for me that I like. So yeah, that's Gatak. Let's see. After that, we have.
I don't think you have a good game. I was just gonna say, I don't think you have a good game if you don't have ships like the Suyan. That for me is like the alien ships.
Yeah.
You know, it is the Suyan, the other stuff, the other alien ships we'll come to in a minute. This is the stuff that makes the game for me, gives it the dimension that makes a difference. So I'm super happy to see that. We got lore when they first dropped Gatak as a manufacturer. Sherry Heiberg, the archivist for CIG, gave us a lot of lore around why Gatak exists, right? And so I was looking for more ships from this manufacturer because they have such a wide remit across Geon industry, right? So my hope is that once they having done the Suyan, once they're able to knock out the Raylan, that they'll have enough of the design language to go forward and do even more. So looking forward to that.
Okay.
But the Raylan's got to be next, and hopefully sooner rather than later. Yeah.
Okay. Continuing on with the alien ships, Apoa, the Kartual, Nox, Suntuki. Those are the 3 that we've got from there. There hasn't been any changes here, no price increases, anything like that.
The Nox used to be my favorite speeder because of the look. But
what
I moved on.
What have you moved to?
The Ranger, but it's not out yet.
Oh, well, that's a different category, though. That's a wheeled vehicle. I'd still say you could keep the Nox as your number 1 for a grav vehicle and keep your other one for a wheeled vehicle.
No, I actually have a Pulse, but I mean, it's not number, but yeah, I do have a Pulse.
So which one would you choose between the Nox and the Pulse? Which one would you pick between?
Yeah, I've got to say the Pulse for now. But
okay, well, the Pulse is your number 1 grav vehicle then.
I'll probably get the Nox in game.
Yeah, let me say this. The Soul Citizens have had a couple of sessions with multiple Gravlev vehicles over by Icebreaker on Microtech, where, Griff has gone out about 5 kilometers, and we've raced out to him, circled around, and come back. The Nox is the boss.
Yeah, for that straight line run. Absolutely.
The Nox is the boss.
Yeah.
Let me be clear.
Yep.
And so I really enjoy the Nox. Jay, I know Jay remember because Jay won. That's why she remembers. It just smokes.
Yep.
So just keep that in mind. Yeah, and to Griff's point, I have no idea what it's like on a course with a lot of turns, where you got a lot of acceleration and deceleration. But straight line, nothing beats
straight dragster. Absolutely. Favorite one for you, fastcart, the Banu. Again, this is a throwback not to IAE, but Alien Week. I've been waiting for CIG to introduce something more. Now, there's another part of me, FC, that makes me wonder whether or not it maybe is good that they're not allowing other stuff to come to us, because the way that Banu ships will be obtained will be because of our interaction with them. And I would love to see something like that happen, right? Because it gives people a reason to want to go into their space, culture, get into trade with them, versus us just buying every freaking Banu ship that's out there. And we know as traders, the merchantman is their flagship, but flagship means that there are other ships, right? And so I am curious to see what the Banu folks will have, what they will have NPC wise, and for us to get later on. So I've kind of curtailed that whole thing of wanting more of something, because if it's a matter of us just getting it so easily in the UEE verse, there'll be no reasons to travel to the other places to pursue after them. But we'll have to see what CIG does with that.
That's a fair point. I also believe that, and this is, take it or leave it, I'm not your financial advisor. But I also believe that, right, it does not represent the merchantman pricing. It's not going to be this low for long.
Yeah.
This low?
Yeah. Well, let me.
I know you got it. You got it back when it was like $1.25.
But let me throw something into that to your point. The difference between a ship like this and the Polaris, like some people were, bemoaning the increase. We knew the Polaris was going to increase, and it went up by $75 in cash. Was it $75 in difference? We knew that was coming because the ship was being released, and that's the norm. But this ship has leapt leaps and bounds from its original price. And so the question becomes, but mind you, the ship has also changed physically, and it's grown, and it's become a different animal than it was when it was in the $200 range. So where do you guys see this ship in light of what we've seen happen with the Polaris, where we've almost reached $1,000 in credit? But the price for it now is what, $825 cash? Is that right?
That sounds right.
Polaris?
For the Polaris. War bond.
Something like that, war bond?
Yeah, that sounds right.
For a ship like this, and if the quote-unquote alien tax is a thing, if it's a thing, where do you see this on release?
I would say $850, $950 on release.
Yep.
Okay. So you don't think it'll cross the 1,000 mark? You don't think it'll cross? And I'm not saying it should. I'm just asking, because that is a big jump to go from $200 to just underneath. Okay. Just underneath. Okay.
And I think,
Oh, go ahead.
People who weren't around when the Banu merchantman was $200 probably don't need to hear that it was $200. That's probably going to that's going to kill them.
Yeah.
Right. But it's also, I think, been redesigned. It's going to be very different in the end analysis than what it was potentially when they first started to think about it. So, right. And I think Darkness Muta has part of it as well. That $1,000 line,
right,
for LTI.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, Drakazak said the same thing. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Okay.
And there was no price increase at this IAE, but there was a time when, for a bit there, the Banu merchantman was increasing every Invictus, every IAE by $50 or $100. But so it's steady at $650. But when they start working on it again, watch out. So if you're interested in this thing, or if you want to not invest, that's not the right word, but I mean. Yeah, it's back, but it's not going to stay at $650 for long. Well, maybe like another year, maybe. But yeah, $650. If you thinking about getting this thing, get it now at $650 if you can, or just get a CCU so you have the price locked.
Okay. All right, Asperia. Nothing new here. Some of the same old favorites that are here. The Vandal Blade. Well, and mind you, these are all replicas. They're not the original ships. Glaive, the Prowler, the Talon Strike, These are been around for a while. No real modifications to them, nothing feature-wise. There are some ships that have had some features added to them, things that started working that maybe weren't working before. But as far as I know of, there's nothing in any of these ships that's changed within the last few patches.
And I would imagine once Squadron 42 or they finish Squadron 42, some of these Vandal ships will change.
Yes, there is a new design on the ships.
Right.
Yeah, that they talked about implementing once that came out. Okay. All right, let's move on beyond that to Captain Serious Fun. We'll start getting excited at this point. Roderick Space Industries, RSI.
You can just skip this day, Griff.
Yeah, you just want to skip this one? Yeah, we just want to skip this.
I will not start getting excited. I stay excited.
Stay excited. Okay. Here's some ships that I was expecting to see a little bit more of too. We know that CIG had showed these in gray box at one point, and that's the Apollo Medevac series. Their pricing has remained. They've been consistent. I think that's been their pricing. The Arastra, which was introduced a year ago, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2 years ago. Arastra, 575. I don't even remember if that's the original price or not. I've got
the guy
one,
was cheaper from Warbot.
Yeah, I can't even remember. I've got one, and I don't even remember what the price is. The Auroras have been pretty much consistent with their pricing. The ES, I couldn't remember if they still sold this thing, and they still do.
Yeah, ES is an old warhorse. Yes. I remember that being the cheapest ship back in 2014.
Absolutely, $20. Hop in, get in, drop it off, and forget about it. Absolutely. The Aurora LN, the combat variant that many people like. The LX, for those of us who are crazy enough to buy one, I own one of these as well at $35. And then the MR, one that's often in many people's hangars that they can just use as scrap whenever they feel like it. The Andromeda, these have over the years increased. I remember when the Andromeda series or the Constellation series were a little bit lower in price, and they've slowly crept up, not by a lot, but they have crept up. You gonna see FC?
The Andromeda was $225.
$225.
I want to say the Chorus was $150.
Yep.
And the Kilo was $275.
Yep. And they've crept up a little bit over the years. The Phoenix
don't want to stay the same.
Yeah, the Phoenix has remained consistent. There was a feature increase here. Those of you know that they put a PDC on this. PDS, whichever you want to call it, and that's been something that is not necessarily completely ironed out as well as it is on the Polaris, but it is on here and on the 890. The Taurus is increased here as well to 200. Galaxy, still wanting to hear what's going on with this. We know that the Galaxy is in line with some of the ships that are being done after the Polaris. Perseus is next, and the Galaxy was supposed to follow.
Did they ever sell modules for the Galaxy?
There were 3 modules that were in the original sale. They sold them.
Yeah.
There was a mining module, a cargo module, and a medical module. And
they're not available now?
And to buy, yes, you can buy them.
Okay, let me look that up.
But they're not available. Okay. They're not, well, obviously not because the ship's not even available. But yeah, you could buy them. Okay. Whether you can buy them now or not is another story, but they did put them on sale. Yeah, they did put them on sale before. I didn't even look at because I got the set, so I didn't even go look.
Okay.
Yeah, they're available now.
They are. Okay. The Lynx.
Okay. With 10-year.
With 10-year. Okay. The Lynx, the Mantis, the old school Orion 650, which we know will change also. The Perseus 675. Was it necessary to make this change because of the price range between this and the Polaris? Because they were pretty close. $750 and it was, $75 difference between the two ships. What do you guys think?
Well, I think the Perseus is going to go up too.
Okay.
So,
think it'll go maybe to $750, something like that, maybe. That keeps it $200 below the Polaris.
Yeah, around there, 775, 750, 75.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course the Polaris. Let's talk about that. Let me see if there's anything else about the Polaris. Okay, I'll come back to the Polaris. Scorpius, Antares, nothing new there. Ursa, Old Faithful. Ursa Medevac, another Old Faithful. And then the Zeus series. These were introduced last year. People seem to be very happy with this year rather. I'm sorry. We heard about them last year. People seem to be very happy with these. Mm-hmm. But FC.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a medevac old faithful either, because that's like within 2 years, right? But
Yeah, that's true, and actually, that's very true. That's actually a year. The medevac's a year.
Yeah, that's what I
I
thought.
think. Yeah, it's actually a year. Yeah, I meant more
Well, the
of the
gameplay
Ursa.
change has made the medevac stand out. That's really what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gameplay change.
All right, and then we've got the Zeus series there, which is the newest line. Cap, I know you've been very happy with your Zeuses. Do you own all three, or you just got one or two?
No, I own the CL, and then for this season I picked up the MR,
Okay.
for which the ES is a loaner.
Okay.
So I'm getting to experience the ES, but I have an Explorer in my Connie Aquila. I am leaning into the idea that the Constellation will eventually get refreshed. So I'm going to hold on to that as my Explorer. So I got the two. God bless you. I got the two MR and the CL because I don't have a dedicated bounty hunting ship. And if I recall correctly, the MR does both the EMP and the quantum QED. So when I was thinking about, well, what about the Mantis? I was like, well, let me just go ahead and get the MR so we can do that with that ship and have that's his platform, which I like so much.
Okay.
And I know I'm not supposed to be offering financial advice, but you take this with a grain of salt. But SeriousFun, if you play the CCU game right, you can get a $600 Explorer for cheaper than the Aquila. Because I got mine for $290.
Yeah, but he's not. He's
I'm
an
kidding.
RSI guy. I was gonna say he's an RSI
I know.
guy. All right, let's take a quick look at this commercial for the Polaris real quick. Gotta mute that. Sorry, guys. I know I need to mute. Alrighty. Serious, let you take this one on the Polaris. Your owner. So
I mean, you can just you can keep running that commercial back. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We've been waiting a long time for the Polaris, right? One of the things that I really enjoyed about gaining access to this ship that from my group of ships is the ship that I want to be on with my friends, right? Is that I really felt the RSI-ness of it across the line. I was really floored by the detail within the ship,
Mm-hmm.
particularly when you get back to the engineering and torpedo spaces. I felt like the design was responsive to people's criticisms of sight lines on the bridges of RSI ships.
Mm-hmm.
So that got improved. It remains sleek. It has a military feel. It was really nice to receive it the way we received it. I mean, in terms of like, we just got finished talking about IAE and feeling like a little bit of a dip in quality, right? I didn't feel that with the Polaris.
Mm-hmm.
When we received the Polaris, I felt like it was right where it needed to be. Those that want to continue to take shots will take shots. Like, where's the captain's room? Where's the XO? This, that, and the other. I was very comfortable with what I received.
Okay.
Others may feel differently. I'm enjoying the ship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying the challenge and the tension of the costs of running that ship. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. You take it out to an Idris event, you come back, you got 1.2, 1.6, 1.8 million in repairs.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can't afford that, you can't take it out.
Yeah.
Right? It was me right now. I can't afford it. So mine is sitting there waiting for 1.2 million AUEC in repairs. Right? And that's okay. That's what's supposed to happen.
Right.
Right? I felt like it kept the vast majority of the sensibilities from the original concept. Mm-hmm. Just overall, really, really satisfied.
Okay.
With the experience. I also can fit two, and I saw Captain Jones had done this as well, two RSI Scorpiuses in the hangar, which made me very happy.
Okay. FC, thoughts about the Polaris?
Yeah, I checked it out on RSI Day. I rented one, and I spotted it. I was surprised because I have a Endeavor, I have the better instrument, but I only have a this is my first time going into my persistent hangar in game. I only have a large hangar. I don't have an extra large hangar, even though I have those two ships. So I couldn't spawn the Polaris in my hangar. So I had to go out and go to the kiosk, the public kiosk, in order to spawn a extra large hangar in order to get to it. So that was one thing. So then once I did that, it took me 20 minutes to find the cockpit, the bridge. It took me so long, I was about to give up, and I was this close to giving up and looking it up on YouTube to find the bridge. But finally, I did find it, and I'm glad I had the mini-map. The mini-map came in handy for me, so that's another thing on the Polaris. So it's a great ship. It's not for me. The combat ship is big. And yeah, so I'm glad people who finally got it. Because there was some contention between people who had the bad instrument and people who had the Polaris about which one would come first. So congrats Polaris owner, you got yours first. Even though it looked like we're going to get a bad instrument for a little bit there.
Yeah. Yeah, I have interesting feelings about this ship. I don't own a Polaris, and I never had any interest in a Polaris until I walked on one. And then all of a sudden, not that I had interest to buy one, but after I saw it, I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And I mean amazing in the sense of design and what CIG is capable of doing. A few weeks ago on our Soul Voices show, I did a show where it talked about the criticisms of this ship and why there was so much criticism about it. But the more and more I've been on it, the more I'm starting to realize that sometimes the equations that we bring to why a ship is good or bad are done within the context sometimes of either our general experience. For example, people might say, well, there's so much room on this ship. That's not realistic. But CIG has mentioned this before, that sometimes room is being provided for NPC movement, and it's also being provided for PvP movement. So a narrow hallway would be obviously more efficient economy-wise. If you're building a ship, the more metal you put in space and everything else, the more costly it is. But, if you are looking at it from a gameplay position, then you have to step outside of realism and talk about what makes this ship work for what it's being designed for, which is gameplay, regardless of how you look at it. And so when I walked through the ship, I was amazed. SeriousFun was out in space, and he said, "Griff, you can meet me." And I flew out in a Talon. I parked in the hangar, and he met me at the hangar bay and gave me a tour. And as I walked through the ship, it was one of those few ships that of that scale and size that once I walked through it once, I knew where everything was immediately, because the layout of the ship made sense. It was, on one side was the hospital side, on the other side was the brig. If I walked to the back, that's where engineering was, and where I went with the torpedo. Everything was like, okay, I get it once I got inside of it. Tremendously impressed with the outside design of this ship. The amount of intricate detail on this thing is stupid, in the sense of how much work they put into this thing. And I know some people feel like it's overkill or it's too much, but for the people who spent $700+ for this thing, to me, it's like something that I could see. I understand Serious's attitude of having a bit of pride about this ship. It is really, really a cool ship. Some of the mechanics still need to be worked on. There's some things with the torpedoes and things that they were working on, which are pretty cool. I don't know if you guys paid attention to the video. What is the minimum crew complement on this ship, SeriousFun, according to the website? Do you remember what it is?
Oh, I
Like
don't.
about
I know
8?
the max is.
What, about 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I saw 8 people in the freaking engineering room. So, and I saw 6 in the cockpit. So, when it comes to this idea of fully crewing a ship, I'm talking about in the sense of being able to fully complement and crew it so that, you're taking care of all your business. It'll be very interesting to see what's the minimum crew standard. And we're going to be doing a show. In fact, next week, we're doing a show called FAFO. Y'all can watch that show with us next week. Fly around and find out. All right. Fly around and find out. That's what that's about. And we're going to be going through the multi-crew ships and really reevaluating the numbers that CIG has published versus what we think are real world numbers and what it takes to run multi-crew ships in this game. But this ship, I think, is beautiful, Serious. I really do. I don't own one. It made me lick my chops a little bit, but it's not my gameplay, but I think it's a really great ship. Yeah.
According to the ship matrix, it is 6 people minimum and 12 people maximum.
Yeah. Well, y'all might be looking at
we'll
12.
see about that.
Yeah, y'all might be closer to the 8 to 12 on a constant when you're running this thing, but that's just my 2 cents opinion on that one. Yeah.
But my last thought. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and we have to really see what it's like for tuners and engineers to be running about. Yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
You may need 14 or 15 people so that people can be stationed in stages of the ship, and not sprinting around. So it'll be very interesting to see what it actually is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing ship. I know some people are feeling kind of salty about the PDCs on here, but hey, supposed to be a lot to take down a ship like this. So can't wait to see how that goes. And we'll talk about that a little bit later too. Go ahead,
one thing. So a couple of things. The captain and the Polaris video looked like the co-star in the Space Wolf video. I don't know if people noticed that. I thought it was the same NPC, but I'm not sure. But I have a quick question for SeriousFun. What is your favorite paint for the Polaris?
So I have enjoyed the. Let me pull it up.
I'll bring it up
the
on
blue
the
and
screen.
gold. Blue and gold paint. The what was it called?
The Apex paint? No. There's an Apex.
I think it was.
There's a Serious.
Yeah. Serious paint. Yeah. It evokes the Invictus colors without saying Invictus everywhere. And I thought that the blue and gold looks good. I also think about other vehicles and ships that I want to bring on, and the colors I have with them and how it will match. But the green was also kind of subtle. But I really like that blue and gold. That's my favorite.
Okay.
And you're okay with the cost of the skin? It's a big ship.
Yeah, I just picked up all 3 when I picked it up. It's just.
There's a
I didn't even think about it fast.
I didn't see that. There's a Quasar paint. I didn't even see that one. They didn't show that.
Yeah, that's that black, and gold. And Jade said that's the one that her org is black and gold. So
yeah, that looks good.
color for them.
Yeah, that looks good. All right. Check that
And to
out.
wrap up for the OSI day, my plan is to pick up another Phoenix coming in Victors. Not this IAE, but next gen Victors. I'll probably pick up another Phoenix. So this will be my third or fourth time. Hopefully, I'm keeping this time. I just love the interior of the Phoenix.
Okay. Very cool. Let's see. I've got to go back and change some things here to get back to where we're supposed to be. We're on.
We're right where we're supposed to be. Don't worry about it.
We're on our Argo day now. Argo has grown. Argo was just two little PUVs, MPUVs, and Argo has grown over a period of time here. We're going to talk about them in Grey Cat next. But we know that the Atlas was one of the newest releases that they just did a few months back. The SCSVSM was the new release that was put out, the cargo carrier. And of course, there's the old standbys, the Mole, the MPUV Cargo, the MPUV Personnel, the P, and the Tractor, the T. We've got the Raft, the SRV, and we're back to the Atlas. Nothing new here. I still has some things about the Atlas that I wish that they had done, but that's they still didn't sell the Atlas in a pack, did they? Did they sell it in a pack?
It came with the paint, yeah.
No, I mean like a pack
Atlas?
of 3 for a price of this type
Oh
of thing.
no,
I didn't see that.
Yeah, just the paint
it came
pack.
with the paint, right?
Yeah. I was really hoping CIG was going to do like a buy 2 or buy 3 and a couple bucks off kind of thing with these things, because a lot of people bought several of them, not just one, when they purchased them. And I thought that was kind of a missed opportunity for them, but evidently maybe their numbers are saying nope, not worth it.
What's interesting is one of the few days you went over to IAE was for Argo, and that was that was the only day I really went over.
Okay.
And when I think about Argo, I think about it in the context of of this. There are ships that I want to be in, and there's ships that I want to see in the verse.
Yeah.
Right. And Argo represents the type of ships that I want to see everywhere in the verse. And I love the way they look. I love the way they feel. I love what they connote, which is like work getting done. Right. They're the Tonka trucks and construction vehicles of the verse. And I just want to see more of them out and about. Because I love the way they look and feel. I am very. It's my second favorite brand. It's not really it's a portion of my gameplay. It doesn't capture all of my gameplay, but I love when I see an orange Argo ship out in the verse. I just want to see more of them.
Yeah, they've got their orange branding down for sure. If nothing else, you know what they are when you see them.
That's right.
They're beautifully made ships. They really, really are. Let's jump into Consolidated Outland. We'll come to the Pioneer last, but some of the favorites here, the Hover Quad, the Mustang, the earliest series of starter ships, along with the Auroras that we have here. Mustang Alpha, Beta. We haven't had any movement here on pricing either. Gamma, the Nomad, one of the first premium starter ships that we ended up getting in the game. We'll come back to the Pioneer. Oh, that's it. So the Pioneer is it. We'll go to the Pioneer. Let's talk about this.
Then have the Vindicator?
No, that was a special. The Vindicator only came out for the 2948 one, if I'm not mistaken, and it didn't. It's actually dated and labeled that when you go to it. Pioneer had an increase.
Oh,
what were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
Real quick, I'm so salty that I missed out on the Mustang Omega.
Oh, well, yeah, a lot of us missed out on that one.
Because there was a time when they accidentally released the CCU, and I keep looking for it. But yeah, whatever they did, they fixed that. They said nope, not anymore.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Now the Pioneer had an increase. If I'm not mistaken, was it $100 increase? Is that what I'm remembering?
75.
It was a $75 increase. Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it had an increase.
750. Yeah,
an increase and a decrease.
Increase and a decrease. What was that?
Well, it increased in price and decreased in accoutrement. It doesn't come with the land claim anymore.
From that perspective. Yeah. Well, yes, but it had an increase in ship size.
Right.
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 So the ship was redesigned and new attributes were given to it. One of the big things was the fact that it can pull resources through its legs when it's landed. And the scale of the ship has also grown, and its capability has also grown. Where this is a manufacturing platform, not just a base builder at this point. We're gonna say FC?
The wave one for the Pioneer was weird. The RSI credit one sold out immediately. The Wobon one sold out in 4 minutes, and then it stayed sold out. But then later on, Togi pointed out to me that that it was back on sale. I'm like, wait, what? It sold out, and this is still wave one. So technically, it did sold out in 4 minutes, but then it came back. They must have added more stock, or people changed the amount or whatever. But then it didn't sell out again for another hour and a half. So that was a long time for the Warbond for the Pioneer. So evidently, I don't want to say evidently. It seems like they added more to the wave one stock than the typical and typical for IAE.
Yeah. Well, it might have been a hard barometer too, because each year the Pioneer is always sold quickly whenever it's come out. But this year, in light of what was seen with base building at CitizenCon, the demand might have shifted a little bit more, which is why they put out a few more of them. As you can see, for the credit prices here, what do you think this is going to hit when it's released? We're at $825 now, War Bond. What do you think it'll be on release?
I think it'll stay at $925.
Well, that's credit.
That's credit. Okay, well,
I'm saying for cash.
Wobon, $875 maybe.
$8.99.
$8.99.99. $1. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, in light of where we saw the leap for Polaris and everything else, I'm just curious as to what you guys think it might be. It is a capital class ship. Keeping it below 1,000, is that going to be the deal? What do you think?
That?
Are they going to keep it below 1,000?
That's a tough call.
Yeah, it's going to be $9.99.
No, I don't think it'll be that. It may be $9.75, but I wouldn't be surprised to keep it at $9.25 for on-site credit.
Okay, so you don't think they'll cross the threshold then for this one?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's interesting.
I do not believe so.
This is a huge platform. This is a monster, and you're making tons of stuff with this thing.
Has there ever been a sub $1,000 ship that crossed over to 1K or over?
No, but I'm just referring to what's considered capital class. I mean, is the Polaris considered capital class? It's a sub-capital, isn't it?
What is capital?
Is it?
No, it's our first capital ship. Yeah.
It is capital? Okay, well then I guess there can be some capitals under $1,000 then. Okay.
I mean, don't get Admiral Kusanagi started.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Okay.
I do think, to your point, Griff, I do think that as CIG really gets in there, it starts really fleshing out all the base building and manufacturing features. This might be the first ship that crosses over.
Okay, that's a possibility, but I'm just saying for now there hasn't been one that does that.
Yeah.
No, that's right. But it's so fundamental to the remaining gameplay that they discussed on day 2 and throughout 1.0 and Endgame. It's so fundamental to that.
Yeah.
That once they really get in there and start really dealing with it, they might go, this has to continue to grow in size or whatever. This has so many features that it just has to be, at the Javelin level or whatever. Who knows?
Yeah, right? We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. To answer your question, Czar, it's $950. The 890 went from, it used to be $600 and it went to $950 and it's been holding there. Alrighty then, that is it on the Pioneer. We've got to do just a couple more here. Give me a second. Where's my thing at here? My browser's been doing some weird stuff, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on here. Let me do back.
Blame the website if you're using it.
I am using it. It's been freaking out on me here. You know what? We're going to skip a commercial this week because we are already pushing up on being late So we're going to try to expedite through some of these guys. So we don't keep you guys here all night. And most of these are familiar to you already. I'm a little disappointed here. I'm a very big fan of Grey Cat. And I want to see them expand more. CIG did just recently tell us that they are going to do some stuff to the Rock DS. They're going to enclose the casings and do a redesign on that. So there are people, I'm sure, who are happy to hear that. The Steve is there. But again, we've just got these few vehicles from them. But I've been wanting Grey Cat to kind of become also what Argo is. They need to be our people for industrial kind of things that I would love to see more from them. Do you guys have any thoughts about them?
Whenever to keep it quick, I think the same.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever they fix the Rock DS, I'm worried for the community because they won't have a chip to make fun of anymore.
Well, the other thing, too, is there are a lot of people who got rid of their Rock DSs back in the day. You know, it's one of those things with redesign. Sometimes you just got to sit it out and wait and see what happens. But at least it's good to know that CIG has heard some of the things that people have raised, because the enclosures was a huge thing. For some reason, I keep picturing working in some mine and you're on that extended arm out there with no enclosure, and some creature just reaches in and grabs you with his hand and eats you or something. You know,
or like, typical come and grab you.
Yeah, you know, it's just way too exposure, let alone atmosphere and everything else. Kruger. Another one that I would love to see something else happen with. We've only got the P-52 Merlin and the P-72 Archimedes, and I love flying both these ships. These ships are actually pretty popular. People were flying these actually and taking out other ships in the last few patches. You guys got any thoughts about Kruger?
These are great. These are great ships to fly. You know, as you know, RSI has a relationship with Kruger. And the dramatic nature of how quick they are. You really feel it when you're flying while Constellation around, and then you jump into one of these. You really, really do feel it. I like them a lot. I would love to see what else Kruger might do. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
You know what I want them to do with these ships, and I did this one day. I took a Connie out over New Babbage and decided to jump into the P-52 and try to fly myself down to New Babbage. And of course, you know, when you get in there, there's no quantum drive, so therefore there's nothing that you can bring up. But I would love for them to introduce something that allows us to use these ships from air, you know, from space to surface, that you could lock onto POIs at the very least, you know, just on the planet, and obviously nothing in space. Because I think people would use them. It was so much fun. It was so fast. And I was scared to death because I was taking a real big guess at where I thought New Babbage was. And I made it there. And it felt so rewarding to fly down in this thing so quickly and land. It was amazing, you know. But this was all just doing it visually. But we do need instrumentation, something that allows you to put in something and say, I want to go here if it's a POI, and you can get some direction, you know, some type of guidance. And maybe it'll come up in our visors and stuff later. But that's the only thing that's missing for these ships to me. You know, I don't mind the no quantum thing. They're very great ships to fly. Okay. Let's see. We got through this list. Okay, let's move on here. Drake Interplanetary. Let's see. What do we have? Do we have anything new this year from them? Nothing, right?
We've got we had the Ironclad. Yeah.
We got word that the Ironclad is in production.
Yes. We talked about the price increase, right, for the Cuddy Black. It was a price increase, right? 110 to 110?
110. There's still 110.
Okay, I thought there was a price increase on that ship for some reason. I must have got something wrong. Okay, maybe I'm crazy.
Well, if I'm mistaken, I don't think so.
No, I know I'm crazy. Maybe it was. Maybe that's what the increase. I don't know. I thought there was some big thing about that ship price going up this year.
We said that the one thing we learned about the Ironclad.
Oh, the Ironclad, yeah.
Was that it is in production. And then we talked a little bit about how we thought the price might have gone up on the Cuddy Black, but it hadn't. And someone in chat said, what did they say, Fastcart?
Because Doc said it's going up soon. They decided not to do it at a month, but it's going up soon.
Okay. That may be where you heard it, Griff.
Okay.
That it is going to go up. It just hasn't gone up yet.
Okay. Yeah, the Ironclad. The Kraken's still 1650, no changes there. Privateer still at 2000, no changes there. Mule.
All of those sold out quickly.
Really?
Wave one.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I think the Kraken took the longest. I want to say 4 to 6 minutes, something like that. I have to look at my notes. But yeah,
Wow. Okay.
it was minutes compared to yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Every time I see the
it's like-
Kraken, I think of the final countdown with Kirk Douglas. Maybe that dates me.
Yeah.
That's an old ass movie.
Aircraft.
Okay, I remember that
Oh,
one.
yeah, really. Yeah, that really goes back. Okay.
Yeah, but I always like credit for the Kraken and Privateer immediately.
Okay. All right. That was Drake Day. Origin Jump Works. We didn't get anything new here. Nothing new was expected here. But there was one pleasant surprise. And as we look at these ships, unfortunately, we highlighted the fact that there was some issues with these on the floor, particularly the 135 at this year's show. I don't think there are any issues with any of the other ships from Origin. The one ship, though, that we've been looking for is the 600i with its remake. There still hasn't been any word on that. The 890 Jump, though, for 890 Jump owners, did get something that they've been asking for quite a while, which was paints for the 890 series. And I hate to say it.
They got 2 good paints and one.
Yes,
paint.
thank you for saying it. Thank you for saying it.
I agree. I completely agree. That blue one, I don't know what's going on.
Yes.
Maybe something I have noticed is that I'll get to it later on. But sometimes when you look at the stuff on the website, it doesn't quite look right. But when you look at it in the game,
it doesn't look so bad.
Maybe that's the case here.
That's true sometimes. I think the thing that freaked me out a little bit about this was that there seems to be a correlation between the 135 paint and the G12 racer. And it seems like they were kind of bringing those paints together. I don't know if they're identical.
Well, that's what I heard as well,
other.
was that Skyline paint was evocative of the idea that sometimes the 890 Jump functions as a base of operations for ship racing.
Yeah.
And that was the ship racing color.
Yeah. See, that's the same color for the vehicle here for the G12R. So if that's what they were trying to do,
or vehicle racing,
I am still not happy about it, even if that is what they were trying to do.
And the Meridian jumps around, because I know the Meridian is for the Mercury also.
The Meridian's great. The Penumbra's great. Both of them have a different type of accenting between black and gold or yellow. They look really nice. But this one here, I don't know. There's just so many other colors that could have went with. But we do have anyway, I just wish it was a different color. Let's just say. But I'm glad to see
have you pulled
some love.
The 890 out? Did you put it on?
Yes, I did. I took it out and put it in a hanger, and I tried both of them. Of course, I didn't buy the blue one. It's a dirt crying shame, because if I bought all 3, it'd be a discount. That's how much I didn't like it. I just didn't even buy it. I was willing to pay full price. But it does look good on the ships. It really does. Zombie Pig, thank you so much, buddy. As always, thank you for that 20 months of support. We appreciate you. Yeah, nothing new here. I'm a little disappointed, though. The G12s have been sitting in holograms for years, and I would love to see one of these vehicles finally come out. We've been getting vehicles from Anvil and everybody.
Sure.
Yeah, I was too.
Sure we were going to get the G12, and they were going to be a new vehicle at the Daymar Rally. I was sure. We didn't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, the G12 has been stagnant for so long. I wouldn't be surprised if they reconcept it.
I don't care if they reconcept it. I just want an Origin vehicle. That's all. I mean, there's other reasons too. This is one of the only enclosed vehicles. That's another reason why I want it. Outside of just the whole Origin thing. And I like the design. If they redo it, okay, that's cool too. But I just was hoping. It's been sitting as a hologram at their show for years now, and I was just hoping that we'd see some movement in the area of that vehicle. The M50, another flight standard that's been around for a while, and of course the X1 series. We got these last year, and that's that. Okay. Next one. Here we go. Anvil. We're getting near the end, gang. Hang in there with us. Let's get some thoughts here. Anvil's been making some moves here within. Particularly in this area of medical, which was something that, some of you know, Admiral Kusanagi's been on this forever, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, because he's talked about the lore of the ship, and many of you who own Terrapins will remember that actually on the Terrapin, there is an area on there that was stamped that talked about rescue. Not just the fact that the ship was in the lore, it wasn't just the ship was out there for scanning. in the sense of combat. But that this ship was also designed for rescue, and CIG has moved forward with this. And as you see in their description, it says it's an armored emergency response vehicle. Now, some people may feel that there's some overlap here, in the sense of, well, do I get a Cuddy Black, a Cuddy Red? Do I get a Pisces? Do I get this? Do I go to the Apollo? And I think CIG, there are times when CIG is doing things to fill a gap. And then there are some times when CIG is doing something to give options. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Cuddy Red, Pisces, Medevac? This one, the Medevac vehicle, the Terrapin Medic, the Apollos. What do you guys think about that? Too many?
I was gonna say this is all you because I'm not in the medical gameplay, so I don't have a dog in this fight, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at the map, I don't know if folks have had a chance to take a look at a screenshot of guilds and the professions for 1.0 as Richard Tyrer laid them out at CitizenCon, right? And that is the direction in which we are going.
Mm-hmm.
Search and rescue is a subset exclusively of the Science Guild, right? It is not a discipline that's found in the Council, which is sort of like piracy, PvP. It's not found in the Mercenary Guild. It doesn't stand out on its own, right? I think that that's a mistake. I've heard other voices. For me, that's a mistake because I feel like there are, in almost all of those other disciplines, there's an opportunity to have an expression that is about rescue, medical, support, recovery, all of that stuff, particularly as death of a spaceman becomes more and more prevalent, right? So for me, I feel like all of these different options have value. I was super excited to see the medical, the Terrapin Medic, as they call it, make its way into the game. I recognize that or it's my thought process that the way in which respawning functions now may not be the way respawning functions over the long term. And maintaining bodies and transport will become more important. Yeah. Right? It won't just be that you spawn back there. It'll be that these vehicles have to get you somewhere within a certain amount of time as part of gameplay in order to save your life. Right? And so I look forward to all of that. I think that's a potent component of gameplay. I own a Apollo Medevac for that very purpose. And I love to see I had the exploration pack that comes with the Terrapin. And so I love the little turtle. Yeah. I love the little turtle. And to see it evolve in this way, I think is really exciting. Yeah. Yeah. I see them all as having their own role. I know there's some people who feel like, and don't get me wrong, there's obviously some ships that can overlay over other ones. But this one, I think the benefit here and what we saw from the trailer and what they're showing here, this ship is going into a combat zone. And that's what's going to distinguish it. That's what's going to distinguish it. Yes, there's only one bed on it. If you look at a Cuddy Red, it's got 2 beds in it. But those of us who know how the Cuddy Red is, are you going to fly that into a war zone? Unless it's after the fact, unless it's after the fact. Are you going to fly Pisces into a war zone? Well, if you're nimble enough and fast enough, but we all know that the Pisces can't take any punishment. So now after that, you move to the level of either this or an Apollo. And even in Apollo, you've got a tremendous amount of risk when you're bringing an Apollo in, because let's say you've got a crew of 3 people on that ship, and then you've got maybe 2 or 3 or 4 other folks on there that you're picking up. Higher level of risk of loss of life. Here, you've got a single pilot, maybe just a single pilot, who can fly in with this thing, pick somebody up, and get out. Or they can at least put 2 maybe. So I think that there's going to be roles. I think roles is a big deal. I think Joe Run said this Saturday, and I think it needs to be emphasized. Sometimes people don't look at roles of the ship. What is their job? Now, I'm not talking about what do we make it do, because you can make a ship do just about anything. But I'm talking about what is the ship designed to do? And if we really think about what is the ship made for, the Pisces is great and it's nice, but
How many of you guys have flown to a hot zone with a Pisces before and just got blown out of the sky? I mean, not to be funny. Maybe when you're leaving a distribution center, and you guys know what happens when the distribution. I was in the Cuddy Red. Man, that thing unloaded on us. We didn't get 50 feet above the ground. It was boom, we were gone. Maybe the Terrapin can go through there and get you out. You know what I mean? And so I think that these ships are all going to have their purpose when it's all said and done, you know. Let's finish up with Anvil here real quick. There was also the introduction of the F7CR and S, the Ghost and the Tracker, renamed with those codes, or if they weren't, that's what they call them. Did you guys get to check these out? Because I didn't get to look at them.
I looked at them on the show floor, but I didn't print them or anything.
Okay.
No, I haven't looked at any of the Hornet Mark IIs. I haven't looked at any of the Hornet Mark IIs. I'm not a Hornet fan. I do recognize the power of the F7A. I think it's overpowered, but I haven't really looked at the F7C line of ships. So.
Yeah. I like these designs better than the old F7s for sure. The old F7s, and don't get me wrong, the old F7s have a nostalgic feel, but these feel more up to date, you know. Were you going to say, FC?
I walked up to the F7A expecting to be able to rent it because it's flyable, but nope, you couldn't rent it. And then I looked on the list and said, all the F7s are listed except for the F7A. So it wasn't anything, something I missed, not on the CIG's end. But one thing they did say in one of the IAE shows, they said the Super Hornet rework or variant is coming, so I'm looking forward to that. The Super Hornet Mark II. One thing that I've been harping on is that when they showed the 15 ships at the end of CitizenCon, the last ship you saw was the Pioneer, but you saw a ship rising from the cargo, from the hangar of the Pioneer, and that was the Hornet. So I've been saying that instead of being 15 steps, it's 16 steps. They look like they're all working on the Super Hornet variant.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too. CIG said when they showed us the silhouette of all those ships, they said these are just this is the words of John Crew. These are just some of the ships that we're working on next year. So that wasn't the entire list. And just like they bring out something that we don't expect, those are just some of the ones that they wanted to reveal to us, which was interesting considering how many ships there were, right? Let's jump to this one. Anvil Paladin.
Was that a silhouette?
I'm going to come back to it because I'm on this page now. So,
okay.
A lot of quandering about what's Anvil was going to put out. A lot of requests for Anvil to consider some type of capital ship. They are being the major military contractor for the UEE. They have yet to deliver a capital class ship in the game. Some people heard the name Paladin, and some people were probably even hopeful that maybe this was going to be it. There are a lot of rumors about what this would be, but this is what it turned out to be. Give me your thoughts on this ship. Anything you guys, your personal thoughts or things that you've heard people say about it?
It looked great in black. The black skin, it looks sexy.
Yeah,
I give it that, but it's not my gameplay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that a gunship with a crew of 4, with size 4 missile racks, size 5 turret, 2 size 4 remote turrets. This is a big dog, right? This is coming in to take over, right? To do its thing. I'm hearing that it's a crew of 2. Okay. There's not 3 remote gunners.
Crew of 2. It's a crew of 4 on this thing. 2 people can fly, but I mean, there's 4. This is a 4-seater, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking at the picture right now. Am I crazy or what? I know I'm crazy, but I thought it was 4.
1 person, minimum, 4 people, maximum.
4, yeah. But it's a crew of 2 because there's a gunner. There's the main gunner, and then there's the side guns.
Odinova says pilot-controlled wing turrets. So
they can be. They can be pilot. They can be pilot controlled. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So 2 to 4.
Go ahead.
And for me, I'm trying to speak about the ship distinct from the ostensible controversy, right? Which is that people feel like this is a replacement for the Redeemer, right? And that in the worst case scenario, the Redeemer was nerfed so that they could sell this ship.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. Yeah.
For me, we're going to continue to see over the long term, ships get readjusted and CIG plays ships in, maybe in part because they want to sell more ships, but also because they have a vision for the game, right? People got to manage the trust gap for that around that discourse. But this is an example of something that you're going to continue to see, which is ships coming in to fill niches that they want to build out. I like the idea of a ship from Anvil of this size with this heavyweight turret being able to provide support fire. I think that it makes sense for the verse. It's not my ship, but it didn't surprise me that it showed up. The only reason that I felt a little bit of disappointment was because I had been gassed up by the community around an Anvil capital ship. But the CIG never talked about that, so that's not their fault.
Yeah.
So.
FC, you got any thoughts on this?
I find it interesting that it had the same pricing as the FAC Lightning. It was $260 Warbond and $300 site credit. So I'm not sure what marketing. I don't know. I would have thought this might be. Well, it is more expensive than the Vanguard series, I guess. But,
how much is it? It's what now?
It's $260 Warbond and $300 for RSI credit.
Okay. Yeah, my feelings about this is this, and we touched on this a little bit during the Virtual Bar Citizen yesterday, Cap, and you said some things that really resonated with me because I thought maybe I was dreaming. And the issue in relation to the Redeemer, you said this on yesterday, and I was like, you're right. And I thought about this. For those of you who remember when the Redeemer first came out, the Redeemer was designed to be a dropship. It was a gunship dropship, dual rolled or whatever. And for those of you who have Redeemers, you know that when you go inside the ship, there's a whole area for you to have a crew that you drop off somewhere. This ship, on the other hand, is not that ship. It's a gunship. It's a full gunship. I know there's some people who might feel, and I can kind of understand why with the CIG when they re-released the new version of the Redeemer, heavy guns and all of the other stuff. It was that dog. I mean, we saw Redeemers go in and take out hammerheads, right? But the ship got adjusted, and it was given some different speed and agility and stuff like that. And that's going to happen to ships in the game. Now, some people, and I can understand this too, some people, if they bought the ship under the idea of what it was when it was redesigned and what it was doing, because maybe when it first came out, they didn't like it, but then the new version came out and it had the bigger guns, and people said, oh, wow, this thing's amazing. But then, it's hard for us to determine whether CIG does these changes because of analytics. In other words, they get the numbers on how many kills a Redeemer is doing in the game and how much people are using Redeemers to do that. And they're starting to see a meta and they change it. Or did they just do it because they needed to make room for another ship that needed to be put into the game? I don't know which one it is. I'm sure maybe a little bit of both, maybe one or the other. But I see this ship as distinctly different than the Redeemer. I don't see it as a replacement to the Redeemer. That's just me. I don't see people using a Redeemer as a dropship gunship. I see people using it as a gunship all the time. And that's because there maybe aren't reasons to be doing dropship work yet. But later on, and I was watching Inforunners. By the way, Inforunners did a good piece on this ship.
Yes, they did.
And one of the things that they talked about was because you and I talked about this yesterday about the ship being a drop ship, and they went back and talked about the fact that the Redeemer is designed to go in quickly, drop, have guns to help clear the space, drop its people, and get out. Where this ship is there to do the fight. It's there to go in and fight. And I think that is what the role of these two ships are. They're distinctly different roles. I know people want to use a ship to do a certain type of role, and we've been using the Redeemer as a solid gunship, and it's all it's been doing. But 50% or 30% of that ship is drop ship. And I think that's what's going to be important about that ship. Getting in, protecting what it needs to do, doing a little bit of obliteration, and getting out after you drop people off. And of course, it can stay in the fight in some form. But this ship, especially because it looks like it's built around the Valkyrie a little bit, looks like it's a more heavily armored ship and can take more punishment. But I don't know. Do you guys think that this ship can take more heat?
Yeah, that's how it looks. It looks like it's more armored, but
because the
who knows
Valkyrie's
how
tough.
that'll work out.
Yeah, a Valkyrie is tough. But, we don't have armor and stuff yet in full bloom yet, so it's hard to say.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Right.
Anyway, enough time on that. I know it's a controversial piece here, but that's the Valk. I mean, not the Valk. The Paladin. I'm looking at it with reminding me of the Valkyrie.
And the Paladin has an important name in Wing Commander lore, because especially in the Wing Commander movie, there's a guy called Paladin.
A character called Paladin, absolutely.
Right.
All right, no other.
So John Rhys Davies is Paladin in the Wing Commander games.
In the games, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. No other changes here. Everything else, pretty standard stuff, right? I don't think there was any changes here. Still no word on the Crucible. A lot of folks are still looking for that. Was there an increase
yesterday at the virtual Bar Citizen, there was a couple of different people on a couple of different breakout sessions that were looking for an evolution of the Atlas platform. I say Atlas, it's not the Argo ATLS, it's the Atlas platform. That's the Ballista, the Centurion. They were looking for the next vehicle on that platform, maybe in relationship to some of these ships that we've seen, and they were kind of disappointed that they hadn't seen that. But
okay, fastcart, was there any increases on these Mark IIs that came out? Were they the same as the old price for the Tracker and the Ghost?
I don't know. Sorry, that one I don't know about.
Okay. I didn't hear anything about a price increase on them.
I didn't hear anything about no.
Okay. FHC Lightning, Gladiator. God, that ship needs some love. Gladiator needs some love badly.
Oh, the one thing about the FHC Lightning is that they're offering a 10-year insurance as a straight-up CCU. It's a $0 CCU for the FHC Lightning. For people having six months insurance for that thing.
Okay. All right. Gladiator. The Hawk. Hurricane. Don't hear very much about this ship, but I know there are people who do love this ship. And the Legionnaire, one ship that we didn't get from CIG this year that they're still working on. I'm really curious to see what the whole boarding mechanic's going to look like for that. I was disappointed about this one. I was really hoping that the Liberator was going to be a surprise for us, particularly with us going into Pyro. Some ships needing to be able to be transported back and forth so that they don't have to be flown through individually. And I was hoping that the Liberator would be available to players by the time we got to go into Pyro. Maybe it will be at some point. I don't know. But I'm disappointed that that ship has not evolved and gotten into player hands. And let's see. The Paladin, Spartan, Terrapin. What do you guys think about the pricing here? Excuse me.
I was surprised. I thought there was going to be some kind of price difference between the two. So
yeah, I was surprised.
The same price
as well. Yeah.
If anything, I would have typically. Well, the Cutlass Red is more expensive than the Cutlass, but it's less expensive than the Cutlass Blue or Black. I'm not blue, but Cutlass Blue. So I would think maybe it'll be $10 cheaper than the.
I thought I saw these prices different for some reason in my account.
200 war bond.
It is 200 war bond. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Yes, it is 200 war bond. Okay, so it is $20 difference then, for war bond. Okay, all right, that makes okay.
But same price for both of them.
Okay, Valk is still $375. Okay, that's it on that. Yeah, I think we hit everybody. Okay, now we're at Best in Show. Boy, we're really running over today, guys. Hang in there with us. We're almost done. Best in Show this year. Was it the C1? The Reclaimer, the F8, and the what was the other one?
Terrapin.
The Terrapin. Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts about this? Somebody at CIG loves purple. So what do you guys think?
Purple rain, purple rain.
The paints in the animations and the thing that you're showing now, the paints on the website, don't look as good as the paints do in real, when they're in front of you. They look much better.
Okay,
they look better in the game. Yes, I agree.
And that doesn't mean they look great.
Yeah,
no.
yeah, but they look
They
better.
just look much better.
They look better
than they do.
You know, I would say CIG. You know, I could be wrong, y'all. So y'all forgive me because I'm tired. I would love for CIG when it comes down to best in show. When it comes down to best in show, that they use gold as the highlight. So in other words, purple and gold, blue and gold, black and gold, orange and gold. That would be my thing as a signature to the fact that this was considered best in show. I'd even take chrome. But the mix matching of dual tones of colors gets scary to me. If you guys remember when they put out that one that was the white, black, and gold, remember that? The ship that they did where the windows were that color? To me, I would love to see something that's a continuity each year. The gold would be the trim or the accent in the ships, and then it would just be a solid color. But that's just me. I'll have to take a look at these. I haven't seen these colors in person, so I can't wait to see them. I'm glad that the F8 got something because the F8's the color that they gave the F8 for their skin stinks. I don't like theirs that the one that they have for that. But I'm glad that they did do a paint for that one. The Terrapin needed some love. C1 already had plenty of colors, but I'm not mad that it got one. And the Reclaimer also had colors, but they had those weird ones that were named after the mining rocks. You know.
The Dolavine.
Yeah, and it was like, not that crazy about that. Okay.
They had 1 year of IAE that was white and gold.
That was the one I was talking about. Yeah, that was I like that one.
The Valkyrie, I think, was best in show that year or something. They had a white and gold that looks really, really good. When I see that out in the verse every now and then, that stands out to me. So
yeah,
I agree.
My favorite year was the red year. I forget what year that might have been 2 years or it was recent. So I like that one. But Griffin, if you could scroll, you already took it off. But I want you to scroll down to the armor.
Oh,
the
yes,
armor
thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me because I haven't looked at any of that stuff yet. Down further.
Well, it's almost
all the way down.
Yeah, all the way down.
Oh, here. Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Okay, I'm waiting for it to. Okay, so yeah, stop there. Okay, so I'm going to say this: these look better in game than they do on the website too, but not by much. Because I saw this on the website, I was like, what's going? I was just literally when I first saw it on the website. They do look better in game, but it look. I mean, to me, when I look at it on the website, it reminds me of like some kind of armor that made out of bug armor. The Chitin, the SHITIN, it reminds me of that. But it looked the one on the left with the hose coming out of the helmet, that one looked great in game.
Okay.
The Sabine undersuit Star Chaser, the undersuit that comes with these, is the best undersuit in the game, in my experience.
Okay.
I love it.
I'll have to take a look at it.
I feel like I'm in an episode of Logan's Run. I put it on.
I got to go back and take a look at that.
Good.
Yeah, I have to take a look at it. It's interesting that they've done this. This is an interesting theme of carrying the colors over from the best of show into the armors. That's interesting that they did that. All right, and there's the standalone pieces. All right. I'll have to go
and they did weapons too.
They did weapons too. Okay.
Yeah, they did weapons too. Yep.
Oh, look at the two weapons they
chose. Oh, Minnesota Viking. I didn't notice that. That's a good call, the prisoner. If you're a Minnesota Viking fan, you love these colors.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, enough of that. Real quick, guys, we're just going to do, we are, because of our time, we're pushing up on we're at 2.5 hours. Let's just very quickly talk a little bit about what CIG did this year. We've had a lot of different shows during IAE. We've had the Jax McCleary stuff. We've done a variety of different shows. But this year they decided to do this thing called the IAE Show, which was several different things inside of one show, but in particular, some time to sit down with both Richard Trier and John Crew with Disco and do interviews. And there were 3 topics that they picked up, or 4 topics, because there were 4 episodes of this. What did you guys think of this change? Did you like what they did this year? Didn't pay attention to it? What were your thoughts?
I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it. I thought it was fun. It was getting back to fun. It looked like they were having fun. I had fun with them. I really enjoyed the change. I enjoyed the question sessions. I felt like I didn't really know what was going to happen with each show. So it was a little bit more anticipating. Loved it. I thought it was a great idea.
Okay. FC, what about you?
And same for me. I enjoyed the throwbacks. I enjoyed seeing the bug makers. I enjoyed seeing the G.I. Joe, what is it called, Legionnaires. I enjoyed the Faithful, all that stuff. And I enjoyed seeing the Jack McClay voice actor. I hadn't realized that he's been around for 10 years. So yeah, the M50 video was the first time we saw him. So yeah, happy 10th anniversary to the actor for Jack McClay. Yeah, but I loved it. And you know what? I wish they would do these more often, because I've always been complaining that I wish they'd do more like not the 10 for the chairman, but the stuff that they used to do with the developers, and they haven't done it for a while. So this is a nice turn.
Okay. There's the Mariah ship that we were talking about earlier, right? That we got a little glimpse of. And it was interesting to see some of the stuff that they did here. You know, the other thing too is sometimes I struggle when CIG does this stuff, because sometimes they do things to be campy, and then there's this other things it makes you say, are they going to put that in the game? You know,
Exactly.
like what's the guy's name who was running around with the 2 samurai swords, right? You know, and it's like, so are they giving us a hint that Melee is coming like that, or was it just done for the, you know, the sake of this? You know,
let us pray.
Yeah, you know,
let us pray. Because I'm looking for laser swords. That's just me, though.
Yeah. It was just interesting to see what they did. And I know Jade is out there celebrating with the vision of Jax McCleary coming back. I know she just couldn't wait to see that happen. But I did appreciate the fact that they gave some deeper insight.
When Disco said everybody loves Jack, I was like, oh, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, not everybody.
Not quite.
Everybody. Yeah, this was cute what they did with Lore Makers. This was a very cool piece that they did.
Oh, yeah.
Had some fun. And that's the other thing, too. They had fun with a lot of these pieces, which was nice. You know, they gave us the serious conversation, but the fact that we get to see them having fun was a big part of this for me, too, which I thought was really nice.
That joke with Puppet, that's the best.
Yeah.
I know it seemed like John Crew could call him out, but that was just playing between the two of them. But then you have to see an actual puppet. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And somebody mentioned it in the chat, but to see John Crew start to sing was hilarious as well, because you know that doesn't appear to be his personality.
Yeah, so. Yeah. But the fact that he was willing to do it is another thing, right? Yeah. You know, and you know, I'm sure these people are being stretched, and I mean, of course, they have to be willing to. They're not going to do. Obviously, if they don't want to do something, they can say, "I'm not doing that." But the fact that they are willing to do this for the community, you know, this is outside of what they were hired for per se. You know, they're developers, but there's this other side that Disco's talked about trying to create this bridge between us and them, so that we see that they're people too. And they have an appreciation for the community that goes beyond just their work, but that they're willing to do these little extra things like this, which I think personally says a lot about them as people. Amidst all the frustration that we could have about development, there's still the fact that, you know, they're trying to do these things for the community. This part here for me was when I broke up laughing more than the puppets, and it was just John Crew's straight face of asking him, do you ever feel like a soulless, you know, marketing puppet? And John's face was just so stoned, which to me was just hilarious when he said, well, can I ask you a question? Yep. And of course, let's see if I can find the part that fastcart was talking about. this was also good about the jalopy. They did a whole bit around that. And of course, if you've been around the game for a while, we all know about Jared's, fascination and desire for a jalopy that he's always wanted in the game.
And that was on Origin Day.
Yeah, and this was always really, really fun stuff that CIG did. Lastly, today we had the final episode of this, and it was with very well-known voiceover actor who I've heard him in commercials before, Jonathan Booth, and it was insightful. And it also gave some, to your point, Fastcart, the fact that it gave us some history about the character of Jackson McCleary, the actor who has played him, and how he's been brought back over the years to do the work, and how he even appreciates the evolution of the character, and of course the possible future of what we're going to see from Jackson McCleary too. So I thought this was an insightful interview, especially into the voiceover world and the work, and him talking about CIG, him moving from just doing voiceover, but actually getting into performance as well. In the different studios, from Imaginarium to Elstree Studio, and then now recording in Manchester Studios, which was very interesting to see. And of course, the history of Jax was interesting to see too. So, any thoughts you guys have got about these last of these shows? No,
I appreciated them doing the retrospective with the voiceover guy. I didn't know that he was that prolific.
Yeah,
across so many genres. When he started talking about being the voice of the next thing you're going to see on the BBC, he did that. I was like, oh, I know that voice. It was very interesting to hear from him. His reticence to get into the what he called the big black condom was hilarious.
Yeah.
Said it 3 times.
Yeah, I appreciated the retrospective and the deep dive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good stuff.
For the next IAE, I hope they do something like an end game. They bring back Jack McCleary, Jimmy, Molly, and Grumble, and Bob also, and just have a story involving the 5 characters, having like a envisaged in-game throwback. I want to see something like that.
Well, I hope they continue to build out these characters. I know that there's a time issue with them doing animation work. It's no small task for them to do that, but the community seems to respond to it very well, and who knows, eventually, the machinima level that they do might become something that becomes a regular part of not just these things, but a part of the game even. We've talked about being able to sit on our ships and watch things and see things. So I'd be very excited about all of that. But anyway, that was it. We've wrapped it up. We've got to the end of the show for today. Really want to tell you guys thank you for hanging in here with us. We know it was a long show, and of course without a little bit of technical difficulty, but we appreciate the fact that you guys came back and finished this off with us tonight. A lot to cover here for 2954. Don't forget, the rest of the Bester show is going on. Don't forget, there's going to be the Armor and Weapons Day. Last time we had that, it was great because some of us went out and bought like 20 P6s and 20 missile launchers and 20 of this, but we know that the wipe is going to be coming up soon. So if you got that extra cash and you want to get those guns, this week, get them, but don't be mad because we know that the wipe is coming when we get to 4.0. But hey, spend the AUECU now while you got it, before the big change comes.
That's right.
Let's see. Let's talk about what we've got coming up. I think we got some stuff coming up. Yeah. Let's see. Fastcart, why don't you talk about Soul Talk?
It's one of the best shows on the internet because you had the greatest jokes that you can come across. It's Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. UTC. That's Soul Talk. We talk about citizens and members of the community. We cover ISC, SCL when they're available, and just generally what's going on that week in Star Citizen. So yeah, that is Soul Talk. Join us. This is a chance for you to come in and talk with us about what's going on this week in Star Citizen.
Okay. And next week, am I doing a show next week? I think I am. Soul Voices, Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, one-on-one conversations with me where I talk about items from Spectrum, Reddit, gaming industry, or CIG. Just good conversation that we have with folks in the community who come in and give us their thoughts. These are 2 community shows, so we'd love to have you guys come and drop in on either our Thursday show or our Saturday show. Serious, would you tell people about FAFO next week?
Yeah, so as Griff mentioned earlier in the show, next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll be Soul Citizens, and we'll be back with the show called FAFO, Fly Around and Find Out.
He leaned in for that
Fly
one,
around and find out. Right? And really excited to have you all back with us next week. We're coming to the end of the year. So this is one of our shows for the last month of 2954 or 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're looking forward to seeing you here next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Fly around and find out.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I want to thank both fastcart and SeriousFun for being here with me tonight. Thank you guys once again for all the comments and everything. Oh, we had some questions. fastcart. Oh. I completely didn't look them up, but I know we had.
It's in Discord.
Have you got them? Could you grab them? Could you put them? Could you read them, please? And I'm going to get ready for the raid.
Okay. So this is from Tim Pasta. While we understand that CIG needs to test the mission system and missions, doing up to 6 missions was very frustrating due to bugs and issues. Do you feel that they should make them less grindy, especially since Star Citizen is an alpha and had lots of bugs? Should missions be less grindy now and make them more grindy later, or should we keep them as grindy as they are now because they'll be indicative of what they will be later?
That's a good question.
I think, I was just going to say, I think I don't look at it as more or less grindy. I look at it as CIG should test what they need to test.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so if having us do 6 missions was part of what they needed to test, then I think we needed to have 6 missions, right? Maybe the bugs and what it meant to try and get through 6 missions was part of what they were testing, and they discovered something as a result of the difficulties. If it wasn't, I'd take less missions, trust and believe, right, in order to get through those stages, because to Shimpasta's point, it was difficult to finish all of those, right? But so it depends on what they were trying to test, not I don't look at it from the perspective of whether it was grind for us or not.
Yeah.
I look at what are they trying to test, and were they getting at that with how they laid it out?
Yeah. My problem was there was too much going on, and too much going on at a vital time. IAE, you've got Free Fly, and you've got a buggy mission, right? Those missions needed to be solid during the IAE period. And I understand that there's a dynamic of when we have the free flies and stuff, it brings in more people and it allows us to stress things out, find bugs and everything else. I'm always just a little concerned about those people who don't understand that we're in this alpha phase. And when they go to the page and they say, do these missions and you'll win this armor and you'll do this, but then they get in there and then the missions are bugged or performance is bad on them. I don't see that being a good thing. Not for the player. Maybe CIG gets something out of it, but I do worry about the players if they can't do those missions. The grindiness side, I can't speak to because I didn't do the missions. But what I do know is that people were having problems, particularly with that final mission. People were having issues doing some of that stuff. And I think that when you're doing a promotional time, I don't know, maybe CIG needs to go back to doing what a lot of other companies do, which is like, hey, we need you guys in here this weekend because we're going to be stressing out stuff. People do seem to show up when they do that, but maybe we need to do that versus making new players guinea pigs. I mean,
what those companies also do is go, all right, we'll see you later, and then you don't get to play for 5 weeks.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
And then they bring it back out. So.
That's true. But you can also incentivize it, right? So that players, the regulars will play for that weekend, right? You do this thing and something will happen. You get, I don't know, they could figure out something that would incentivize people when they really want to stress out stuff. I just worry about the new players. Us old hats, it's like, okay, it's buggy, I'll come back tomorrow. But for new people, it may be like, this game is still buggy, I'm not coming back till next year, So I don't know, we'll have to see. Okay, any other ones, fastcart?
That's it.
That's it. Okay, awesome. All right. Well, again, thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate you for all the support, the donations, the tweets, all the stuff you guys do to let people know about the Soul Citizens. We really appreciate all the hard work that you do. Once again, fastcart, Captain Serious, thank you for being here today. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys next week for FAFO and also Soul Talk. We'll hopefully see you guys on Thursday night. We're going to get ready to rate our good friend, Billionaire Ninjas, who we saw at CitizenCon this year. Really cool person. Check him out. He's one of the few content creators who has literally done a review on every ship in Star Citizen. He has done every one of them, and they're great reviews. So check him out when you get some time. We are going to send you over to him. And until next week, we'll see you guys later. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. And as always, peace, love, and soul. Take care. Ciao.